I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast all about finding the darkness inside of ourselves and unleashing it on our friends, coworkers, and lovers. That's right, we are in the Dark Phoenix Saga. Gary, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. Doing all right.
Have you unleashed any dark aspects of your personality onto your friends and loved ones recently?
I woke up and unleashed a dark aspect of piss onto my toilet.
Okay. Hopefully Hopefully the preposition you're looking for is in and not on, right?
Nope.
Okay.
I like to glaze.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take a glazing more than a chocolate covered any day, right?
Yeah. Just I like to give it the old bear claw. I'm good. I'm good. I've been getting too high before bed in Gummy Town, so I keep waking up with head fog. But like, it's been a weird week. Nothing added to that. Just kind of been a weird week.
Yeah.
Been anxious and stuff, and I think I'm deciding to let myself off the hook a little bit and be like, I didn't get as much done as I wanted this week, and I didn't spend my brain power exactly the right way, but it's okay because I was feeling anxious and live to see another week. It's gonna have to be okay.
It was a rough week politically in the United States. It's been
a horrible week politically.
Yeah, not to jump into a political thing, but like, and this is also coming out like weeks later, so who knows what the current thing is. But yeah, it's been pretty miserable watching this country just try to race backwards into the. I was going to say like the 1800s, but I think they're trying to take us back all the way further here. I don't know when they're trying to take us to, just some weird new place that sucks ass.
It's the thing I saw, the most bone chilling thing I saw, which I think is in Louisiana, and somebody's gonna freak out and be like, "Oh, there's context you missed and stuff." I know, I didn't research it because I was anxious about it and depressed. But a thing about this current stuff wrapping up into miscarriages.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, that just happens. Nobody does that on purpose.
And
you paranoid fucking ding dongs. Like most women who I know who have tried to get pregnant have had a miscarriage. Yep. They wanted to be pregnant more than anything.
Yep.
You fucking ghouls. You weirdo ghouls.
Louisiana is particularly special because we have apparently already voted a law into place where if Roe versus Wade gets struck down at the Supreme Court level, without a vote or without governor oversight or anything, we just, as soon as that happens, that's a trigger and automatically abortion is banned in the statewide. And then they're trying to further strengthen that, like, as we speak, and say that, like, all abortion is a homicide, which is absolutely insane. Like, if you just look at, like, I'm not a big fan of the police or anything, right? Like, I don't back the blue, but, I don't know how you're going to ask a bunch of police officers who are terrible at their jobs to begin with and can barely solve crime, to solve a bunch more crimes with a bunch of women who just are in distress because they had a miscarriage or because they were forced into an abortion because of what this way or because they just wanted an abortion. Like it's just not a sustainable system in any way. And like you said, it's just fucking ghoulish. Like it's just absolutely ghoulish.
It's real gross. And I hate it. At the time people are hearing this, when this episode comes out, while down the road, we'll have already done our like little money raising thing we're going to try to do, but depending on how long this lasts, which is probably forever, we might do another cause thing for this because I feel helpless and furious, and just disgusted, which is a really unpleasant feeling to just sit with. But just this intense feeling of like, just why are these people like this?
Yeah, definitely watch social media. On my Twitter, I've been matching people that donate to the like the New Orleans / Louisiana abortion fund. So if you go to twitter.com/JG Greer or whatever, find the link. I posted some screenshots or something, and just send me like a DM or at me or whatever, and I'll match your donation to it if you want to donate to that stuff. And also, I know Gary, y'all are doing something this weekend, which has already happened in the land of this live podcast that we're doing. But definitely watch Duckfeed.tv on Twitter as well for any announcements concerning that kind of stuff, because I'm sure we're all going to try to help. Like, I don't know what else to do. Voting didn't work. So now I don't know what to do. So throw money at the situation. So
hey, now would be a great time to register to vote. We fucking voted.
We did.
Ghouls.
We did. I voted for your guide. I didn't even like your guide. Now your guy's not even doing the thing that the guy said he would
fucking
do.
Ghouls. How dare you tell me to do that now?
Oh, fucking sucks, dude. It's just such a shitty situation.
Super shitty. And then on top of real life stuff, it's just been what a tense week. Disgusted.
Yeah.
But
the
X-Men are fighting the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
So to catch us up from the episode that you guys heard 2 weeks ago, we are in the midst of X-Men versus Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club has captured all the X-Men and brainwashed Jean Grey into believing that she is the Black Queen, and that she owns Storm, which is a real weird fact that you probably should not do nowadays, Chris Claremont. And Chris Claremont probably knows that, I think.
Yeah.
You ever heard you ever heard Snoop Dogg talk about his old songs? They asked him like,
"No,
are you embarrassed about any of the stuff that you said in those old songs about, you know, the hoes talk and all that?" And he was like, "Absolutely not." He goes, they were all hoes." and everybody stops, and he's like, "I mean, I wouldn't say anything like that nowadays." And they're like, "Oh, okay, good."
Okay.
Just back then, I was being accurate, but now, no, I wouldn't say that at all.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They were all hoes.
In my head, I had him doing it in your voice instead of just
Snoop Dogg.
breaking character, he's been doing the Snoop Dogg voice for 50 years. And all of a sudden he's like, no, not really.
Not really. We're gonna pick this up with the X-Men still trapped and the Jean Grey still brainwashed. And we're gonna start off with
the cliffhanger where Scott went into the psychic realm to get stabbed by a psychic sword.
Yeah, and he died. And then we go to issue 134 with a cover that I like a whole lot. The next 4 issues are just fucking amazing, dude. It's so
absolutely
good.
Iconic, incredible covers, just pop art masterpiece class stuff. Every single one of them has been homage to death.
Yes.
In X-Men, whenever you see the X-Men or any character standing in a real specific pose, it's probably from this storyline.
Yep. Or one close to it, or this run, right? These guys were kind of responsible for a lot of modern day X-Men iconography. This one is Jean Grey in the back, dressed up in the Black Queen outfit as a Phoenix Fire is in the background. And then we see the X-Men versus on one side and then the Hellfire Club on the other, all in red and black. And man, just the colors, like you said, just very pop art and great. Just very beautiful.
It's really cool. I was trying to look up the colorist for this because the whole run has them. And it's somebody different each time.
Wow.
This was just a house style, doing these. And I love this era of Marvel colors.
Yeah.
Just so real bold, you know. Also, this is going to sound like a real minor point, and it is a minor point. So the first page of this, where the X-Men are watching Cyclops get up after not dying, has Storm always had those little holes in her thigh-high boots?
I do not know. I have not been paying attention to her thigh highs.
I've never noticed those before.
Me either. I wonder if they stick around for the rest of the issue. Maybe it's because she's flying and we just never see her standing anywhere. She's always flying somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. So basically, Cyclops is alive.
Yes.
He's hurt real bad, but he's alive there. And we get this, my favorite, this run is full of recaps. This 1-page recap is my favorite one they've done. It's all real quick and kind of fun.
Yeah. I love the first 3 panels where we see what they look like now as they're chained up, what they should look like in their normal outfits, and Nightcrawler looks no different whatsoever.
Nope. It's still just Nightcrawler.
And then there's the 1800s version of all of the characters that Jean Grey thinks she's seen because of Mastermind. It's just very good. Like you said, it's very succinct for a wrap-up page, especially considering in 4 issues, there's going to be a whole fucking issue that recaps all of the X-Men history in one of the most boring comics I've ever read. So
non-stop recap. So we see our crew here. They're toasting to evil.
Yes.
Basically, we did it. The rain is coming down. We have that Chekhov's bare wire situation that Wolverine set up to set up a blackout. That's imminent. And then Wolverine, strategic mastermind, just comes in already fighting two dudes.
Yeah.
To just like, I got to really expect like Harry Leland just to go, oh, again, and then just zap him again.
Yeah, just smash him down to the floor, like, and just have him put him right back in the sewer. It took him like a day to get back up. Like y'all would have time to deal with the situation.
And just keep punting him.
It's very. What if they just made an entire video game, except instead of Hades, it was Wolverine themed, and it was just trying to escape the Hellfire Club
to get up to the top of the Hellfire Club?
Yes.
That's a great idea for like a game jam.
Right, dude?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh man,
I would also play Hellfire Club Sim.
Okay, yeah.
Where like you have to run the Hellfire Club.
Dungeon Keeper, but the Hellfire Club? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Dungeon Keeper.
Yes.
Yeah. Mutant Sex Dungeon Keeper.
Yes, absolutely. Oh man, we were on fire today, Gary. These are good video game ideas. Someone hire us.
There are not enough like X-Men games are generally good. There are not nearly enough of them.
No,
keep going.
I want to be fucking done with them, like people are done with Marvel TV shows and movies. Like I want
100%.
I want to be so sick to death of X-Men X-Men video games that I can't see another one, but yet I can't stop buying and complaining about them. Like that's the level.
How can there be this many Assassin's Creeds, and we haven't had an X-Men video game since X-Men Destiny?
Isn't that wild? Isn't that just fucking crazy?
Horseshit.
It feels like they just totally like dropped out of his. I know we're about to get. Well, that's going to be more of a Marvel game anyway. Like that's everybody. That's not even really. I know
you got the Wolverine game coming.
That's right. I keep forgetting about that Wolverine game. Yeah. That'll be good.
2 episodes in a row, you keep forgetting about it.
Well, Gary, it's been a rough week. Okay,
it has been a rough week. But we do. There's light on the horizon.
It's true.
A little bit, and I started replaying just for fun Ultimate Alliance 2 because all I can play is mindless comfort games right now. And that has plenty of X-Men in it.
Yeah.
And is still fun.
Shit. That's the ones they ported, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ported them for too much money, but I paid it anyway because
I did
those games.
Yeah.
And the first one is better, but I played the first one when they ported them. I never played the second one when they ported them, so I'm finally getting around to that.
I need to boot those up. I have those on my PS5 somewhere.
Fun. They're pure dumb fun.
Yeah.
They're real good.
Just
Jason Wingard at this point, he's like, this is my chance. I can get rid of Shaw here. Hey Shaw, your man Leland fucked up, but my man, I won't fuck up. Black Queen, do it. And just has Black Queen zap Wolverine. However, at this point, he does not know that Black Queen is out from under his control.
Yes.
At the same time, she opens up Cyclops' weird little head thing, which I don't really understand. His mask, it stops him from seeing, but not from using his powers.
No, so he said this. They replaced his visor with this ruby quartz helmet. So when she takes that off, he shoots it at the android guy, and then she's telepathically telling him, "Hey, move your head, like look to your left and shoot, and try to miss Nightcrawler." I guess.
Here's what I actually missed. In the first panel where he zaps Pierce, he shoots his helmet off.
Yeah, the helmet goes with him, so he blasts with a good whack.
That's what
noise.
I missed. He whacked him, and I just thought he just whacked him with a blast. Then he blasts off everyone's handcuffs, so everybody can fight. Blast Leland out of the wall. Just lots of blasts.
Lots of blast. Wolverine realizes that Jean Grey is on their team, and then goes after Leland to get some of that sweet, sweet revenge. And Cyclops, as Sebastian Shaw is headed over there to take him out, he says, if you can hit me with your blast, it won't affect me. And Cyclops said, "Who said I was going for you?" And he shoots the floor. And so now Sebastian Shaw goes to the sewer level.
It's a level move in this arc.
Level 1 of my Hades game is just the Hellfire Club sewer.
It's the sequel where Sebastian Shaw has to fight his way back up.
Dude, I mean, if you beat the first round, if you beat the first game, you unlock Shaw, and then you have to beat Wolverine at the end. It's a whole different game.
Yeah, you just go back and forth. Pierce, reaches down the pit and yells for Shaw. I don't know what he's looking to accomplish here. Hey,
I really want it to be like the Elden Ring like gesture, like hey.
And then Colossus picks him up, but Colossus decided not to use his powers for no real good reason, and gets kicked in the face. There's a lot of good Cyclops negging Colossus during this.
Well, he has to. He just spent the last entire issue getting negged by Jason Wingrove.
Yeah.
So like he has to pass that shit on.
Cycle of abuse.
Yep. You've got a brain inside that head of yours, mister. Start using it.
Using it. Yeah. And fair enough. Colossus did just decide to fight somebody without turning into Colossus for no real good reason. Jason Wingard does his signature move, which is to turn into the wall to hide out. Like, I love everything in these issues is so fun and stupid. Like, it's all great. It's super great, high drama, but there's some of my favorite just dumbass comic book things that happen in this. It's real good. Like, Wolverine is going to tackle Leland, and somebody in the crowd just goes, "It's a maniac."
Call the police.
Like this yellow guy with knives for hands flies out of the wall.
I mean, to be fair,
Maniac.
That movie Maniac probably came out around this time period, so people were a little bit scared of maniacs.
Yeah, really primed for maniacs. Maniac Cop as well.
Yeah.
Came out as well. And Leland just zaps him and makes him super dense, so they go to the sewers.
Yes. Everybody goes back to level 1.
Leland's an unlockable character. So Shaw is going to make his way up to the sewer from the sewer level, and Nightcrawler kind of zaps him. He's teaming up with Storm. The idea is they're not going to hit him. They're going to freeze him and juggle him.
Yeah.
That juggling panel is one of my favorite panels in X-Men.
Absolutely.
We're not quite there yet, but I just love Nightcrawler just going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Trapping him in a perpetual motion machine is very funny to me. Like, that's so good shit. Meanwhile, we skip over to Beast, who is not technically on the X-Men team right now, but he's reading the Origin of Consciousness and the Breakdown of the Bicameral Mind by Julian Jaynes and thinking, can't wait to see the movie. But he's on duty as to respond to any calls from the Avengers, because one of the shittiest perks of being an Avenger is that you have to pull all-nighters where you sit around and wait for guy. Yeah, you have to sit around and wait for a telephone call. Like, come on, guy. Yeah. Tony, you don't have technology. You can't give me a pager, bro.
They don't have a telephone that makes noise. Stark can't invent it yet, so you have to watch the screen.
Yeah, or a telephone that rings multiple telephones.
No, Stark's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
He can't get there. He's gonna get Kang to come back from the future to make it. The police, they put out a police APB on the Hellfire Club that's being attacked by the X-Men. So this is a cool little subplot of these issues that doesn't go too far, but I like, is that, like, in the name of the police, like, the X-Men just came in here and trashed a legitimate business person's club.
Yeah.
So the Avengers were going to be called just to, like, beat up the X-Men. Like, they're the terrorists in this situation.
Yes. But Beast is the one who, like, deletes the record of it and then doesn't follow the procedure because the X-Men are his bros. Yeah. So he's going to go help the X-Men just by himself, which is good. I like Beast being on Team X-Men. So I never really liked him on the Avengers.
Once an X-Men, always an X-Men. When the time where he's on the Avengers made him real goofy.
Yeah.
He's, like, constantly making, like, shitty quips in these issues. And I know for a lot of people that's their Beast, but as my Beast was informed by the animated series, I prefer a drier, more intolerable Beast.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Meanwhile, Pierce and Colossus are still fighting, and Colossus is almost about to be overcome by Pierce's weird, like, android strength. And then he's like, wait, I'm Colossus. I can just break your arm off. No NBD.
Yep. Well, he does it because he was racist. Or that's what he acts like that, like, because I'm a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
But Pierce doesn't say anything about being a mutant. He says, "On your knees, you Bolshevik buffoon." And then Colossus is like, "You call me a mutant? I am just a human inside, just like you." He's like, "No, he called you a communist."
Yeah. Pierce, it's okay.
He didn't say anything about a mutant. Yeah. You're just ahead of your time, man. Get a little, like, Colossus Rose emoji and join the party. So yeah, he's here in anti-mutant hysteria where there's not any. Breaks his arm. He uses the stump of the arm to blind Colossus and runs away.
Got him. Meanwhile, we go back to Nightcrawler on this panel that is just amazing, where he is on his shoulders with his legs in the air and just juggling Sebastian Shaw. And Sebastian Shaw cannot do anything about it until he realizes, oh wait, I can, and just grabs his foot and slings him.
Oh shit! I should do something about this. Grabs his foot, and the idea is he's like, just because you're not punching, I'm not using my powers doesn't mean I can't fight. Not how kinetic energy works. Being kicked, over and over would also charge up his powers.
Well, I can tell that you've never been juggled by Nightcrawler because it's just a soft little rotation. It's not even a kick, Gary,
yeah.
and it's also
like
extremely ticklish.
It's not like being punched. It's like an air fryer kind of thing. Storm makes him cold, and then he runs away. He throws Nightcrawler into Storm and then runs away. And he's too cold to stay and fight.
Yes.
As he is leaving, he runs into Pierce, and Pierce is like, we lost. And Shaw's like, it's okay. We lost the battle, but not the war.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
And we get Cyclops trying to chase Jason Wingrave. And
Wingard.
Mastermind is making everybody believe that Cyclops is attacking the Joint. Again, playing into that mutants are terrorist ordeal.
Mm-hmm. And here's where the blackout happens.
Finally.
It's not very helpful.
No.
Like we spent a lot of time on it. Like we had foreshadowing to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's for something like, and Claremont is known to like set up things a long time before they actually happen and to like bury little like details and hints and stuff. For this just to be like an opportunity for Wolverine to like prank Cyclops, like I guess it's worth it, right? Like that's it, because that's what happens. Like, the lights go off. Cyclops is like, "What?" And then Wolverine is like, "Hey," and he's like, "Whoa,
whoa!" The cripes, he startled me. And that's it.
Yeah.
He's like, "What? What happened to Leland?" He says, "Don't ask." And he's like, "Well, if that's what I think it does, Professor X is going to have a fit."
It's a whole lot of demerits.
Yeah, tons of demerits. He just says, "We're getting out of here."
Yeah.
So they had to do that in the dark for some reason.
Yes.
Wingard is pretending to be the wall in the dark, but Jean Grey is able to find him.
Yes.
Of course. He comes out of the wall. He's trying to escape. And Jean Grey, as she's Dark Phoenix now. We don't know yet at this point. And basically says, like, he fucked this up. You tried to, break me and subserve me to your will. However, showing me that Cyclops died, like, right in my face, like, shocked me out of it. Tipped me over the edge.
Yep.
And she fucks him up.
Yeah.
This is great. This is good villain Jean. We get a quick explanation as to why he was able to do that. It's because of a mind tap mechanism that the White Queen made.
Love it. Okay. Very 60s, very Silver Age. And okay, sure. The best part about this is that Emma Frost has never bothered to make anybody another one. And I think it's just because she was like, well, that was obviously a mistake to let anybody use any small amount of my powers, especially that dude.
Yeah. But yeah, also they didn't even check on her or anything like that. Like, nope. She got fought a couple issues ago and they're just like, doesn't appear anymore in this crossover.
I love this moment here where Jean says, like, hey, you gave me what I secretly wanted, and use that to destroy me, and it's only fair that I return the compliment. And hey, you wanted power. Let me show you what true power is like. And basically opens his mind and consciousness to the entire universe. His brain floods with all of the myriad absolute contradictory truths of existence. Chris Claremont on his cosmic bullshit is probably my fave Chris Claremont.
This is real good. Like, yeah. This sells Jean Grey as like a cosmic threat.
And note I said cosmic and not space. Like, I feel like those are two totally different things.
Having Phoenix like basically do this mind crime to him and drive him insane by showing him all the secrets of the universe is real cool. What a good idea, and what a scary thing for Jean Grey. If you imagine at the time you're reading, and we have a version of this because we love Jean Grey as X-Men fans, but if you were just reading this month to month and never expected the hero of this comic to do something this fucked up,
especially to do something this fucked up out of the puppet master's control, right? Like you probably they were really setting you up to believe like, oh, Jean Grey is attacking the X-Men, but it's okay, she's being mind controlled, and then she literally smashes the mind control device and then does something far more heinous than she did while she was in Wingrave's power. Like it must have been a complete like rug pull moment of like, what in the fuck is this?
Well, and then she does the thing with the planet soon.
Oh yeah,
which is
absolutely
classic. Retconned in an irritating way, but the also, how dare she bully somebody who cuts their own hair? so hard. Look at Mastermind's horrible fucking haircut.
Oh yeah, that's a COVID cut right there, bro.
Yeah, that's real Jason COVID cut Wingard. I say the COVID cut.
It's really funny seeing people on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, like posting selfies and being like, "I've been cutting my own hair for 2 years, and I don't plan to stop now." And I'm like, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying you got a plan. I'm just saying, like, you did it the other way for a long time. Like, maybe you should go back. Just see how it works. Yeah, that's okay. It's $20. Like, I paid $20 to watch two dogs fuck. Like, what could it cost?
$20 to watch two dogs fuck.
Sorry, that's something my dad says, and I hung out with him recently, and I unconsciously picked it up.
Hold up. Why does your dad say that? What?
I think it's an expression to say, like, oh, it only costs that. Like, I have that. I'll have that in the change in my pocket or whatever. But like, it's like $10. I'd pay $10 to watch two dogs fuck. Like, I would literally throw away $10. So this $10 means nothing to me. I think is what he's using it for. But it's in my head now. It's just become a thing. So I say it every once in a while, even though
because watching dogs fuck is free, and you'd be foolish to spend.
You'd be foolish to pay $10 for it. Yeah.
That's amazing. What an amazing phrase. Like, the colorful characters you guys have down there.
I'm telling you, dude. Yeah. Full of interesting phrases. I had to call my dirt guy today, and he used the N-word 4 times in a conversation with me.
Christ.
But he's a really good dirt guy.
Country so fucking much.
He's a really good dirt guy, though, Gary. He lives right down the road.
Was it in the worst context that could be, or was he doing it in a non sequitur way, talking about dirt?
We were
like soil.
We were discussing. I don't know how detailed I want to get into this, and I can fill the details on the mic. But he was specifically referring to a person that we both know who was black. Yeah.
The kind of shit my dad used to do.
Yeah, dude,
awful.
Just makes you seriously uncomfortable.
I was about to say there's nothing worse than. There's one thing worse than.
Yeah.
But it is a very specific bad feeling when someone tries to like elbow nudge you into their bigotry.
Oh,
I hate that feeling so much. Like that just is like, again, I started out saying there's nothing worse than, obviously.
Yeah. Actually
being the victim of that racism is 1,000 times worse.
Because nobody has ever made racist comments towards me, because I'm, a white dude that lives in the South. Like the thing that guys do, and this is almost exclusively dudes, where they wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, aren't we both feel the same way about this, is absolutely disgusting. It happened to me with a mayor the other day. I was at a customer, which is a town in Louisiana. I'm meeting with the town clerk, who is a woman, and a woman who is Spanish. I believe she's Spanish. Another dude in there, and we're like having a meeting. The mayor comes in, and I'm like, "Hey, mayor, are you going to be at that shindig tomorrow night that we're going to, the crawfish boil?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going down to Baton Rouge tonight, so I'll definitely be there. I got to go stop this bill. They're trying to pass this, blah, blah, blah." And it goes into like a really lengthy, like, political thing that I have no idea about. And I was like, "Oh, well, that sounds terrible, but hey, at least we have crawfish tomorrow night. It'll be fun." And he's like, "Yeah, and that guy trying to push that bill through, he's a 13%er. And I was like, I genuinely said, I do not know what that is referring to. And he's like, "I'll let you figure it out." Yeah. And I look around the room, and like the other guy in the room, who is much younger than anybody else, is like obviously clueless and just will not get involved. And then the woman just like looks so fucking uncomfortable. I couldn't stand it. I was just like, okay, see you later. I don't.
All this this sucks and is embarrassing, and people who engage in all this stuff, it's fucking it sucks.
Yeah,
it's such an understatement, but it's just like, man, why you gotta be such an asshole?
Yeah. It was super gross, to be honest with you. It was super bad, and it comes, unfortunately, like, that was the worst time in a long time. But I do hear a lot of just casual racist remarks. It's not often that I hear the N-word anymore, because I think I have just put that vibe out there where I'm not that dude. But it's still like very casual racist. So anyway, we're way afield of Jean Grey torturing Wingrave to death, basically.
So she leaves at this point. And Scott walks up on her, and is like, "Hey, I've been searching for you, okay?" And he immediately knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
their rapport, she's hiding something.
Yeah, she's kind of blocking that middle connection a little bit. And she says that she's out of, Wingrave's control. The rest of the X-Men all kind of join together like, hey, we got to get the fuck out of here because if they arrest us, they'll charge us, as criminals. And I'm like, don't they all just know where you live? But it's hard to remember, like, this is a time where, like, they're all still kind of relatively secret, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a, who can tell? Because that gets done and undone constantly. Yeah. That happens with every comic. Like, that happens with, like Daredevil, or if I read an old Spider-Man, I'm like, this is the point in the continuity where people know what Spider-Man is or no?
Yeah.
Do people know who Daredevil is or no? They kind of walk outside. Shaw looks at him and is like, okay, good for them. They're going to take off and we're going to make the world hate them. He sets up his kind of long-term plan. They go out to the lagoon. Cyclops pulls up the Blackbird out of it. And everyone notices Cyclops is having a rough time.
Yes. He's because Cyclops in his head is like, there's something drastically wrong with Jean. I have to get her to Professor X. Like, I am way out of my league here. Also, I mean, she's just so much hotter than I am, just in general. But also, she's carrying a cosmic psychic force, and that's also makes me out of my league. So he's trying to give
her clothing as opposed to underwear.
So he's trying to rush back to New Mexico, which is where they left Professor X hanging out with Angel. They see the cops rolling up to the Hellfire Club, and then all of a sudden Phoenix starts talking and saying, against the cops you may have some hope of survival, but against me you have none. And when they turn around, the Dark Phoenix is revealed, this like red outfit with her hair going all fucking crazy, and she explodes the plane.
Yeah.
Fucking what a hell of a cliffhanger, dude. Like, imagine waiting 30 days, right? Like, you're 13 years old, passing around X-Men comics with your buddy, being like, what in the fuck? What is going to happen? How are they going to get out of this one?
Imagine then, like, you go to the comic book store next month, and then the cover is the 135 cover.
Yeah.
Which again, all these covers are bangers. But gigantic Dark Phoenix destroying the X-Men logo.
It's so
big
good, dude. It's so fucking awesome.
This is this shit. This is the good stuff.
I love Jean Grey's face on this cover too, man. Like, just her like intense dark smile as she's crushing the logo. It's just so fucking good, man.
Sicko mode. Absolute sicko mode. We start off, I love the beginning of this as well, where she explodes the Blackbird into the word Dark Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah. Just like Magneto writing his name in cursive with the metal in the air. She's bringing it back.
Somewhere. Bringing it back. Explodes this. And then just all the X-Men are now falling out of the sky because their jet got destroyed. They were up in the air. We get a lot of kind of figuring out how they're going to land, because most of them don't fly. Colossus just decides to land first to get real heavy. Nightcrawler kind of teleports to the ground, but it looks like he keeps his momentum.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know happened. So he flies sideways instead of down. Storm grabs Wolverine, and Cyclops is just kind of fallen.
She grabs Wolverine by the underwear, right? Like, that dude's wedgied up right now. Like, I know
super wedgied.
I know you got a healing factor, but there's underwear in your crack, and your healing factor can't deal with
his crack. Just pushes it out. You don't think his healing factor can push his underwear out of his butt?
I don't think so. No, I'm gonna go on record as saying that no. Like, I feel like if you like his healing factor, like if he's blindfolded, right, or if he's gagged, like his healing factor doesn't like remove the blindfold or the gag, right?
Okay.
So like if he
has a knife in him,
I
bet you the healing factor pushes the knife out.
Easily, 100%. And bullets, we've seen that happen 100 times with bullets, right? Where they just drip.
So maybe it's a very deep wedgie that his butt will push out.
Man, that is like Dark Phoenix level wedgie. I don't know the Storm could pull off a wedgie like
she's
that.
She's a goddess. She's a weather witch. Of course she can.
Are you saying she's using her mutant powers to wedgie him now? Is she shooting lightning, like underwear laced lightning up his ass? Is that what's happening?
We predict 100% chance of a wedgie storm. And then just...
I bet Storm would give you the worst whirlies, right? Like, just hold you with wind underneath the toilet.
Into a hurricane.
Oh, yeah, dude, it'd be bad. It would be not good.
It would be really rough.
They managed to save Cyclops, just barely. She has to kind of fend off Dark Phoenix from running from grabbing Cyclops, and then Wolverine is able to grab him out of the air and then they were all safely on the ground. When of course Dark Phoenix shows up and is like, "Hey, there's no love here. Like I'm not Jean Grey. I'm Dark Phoenix, and I'm going to murder all of you fools."
Yep. Colossus picks up a tree. He's pulling his punches. He's going to try to tangle her on the top of the tree, which, like, not your brightest idea, Pete. But I like what she does is she turns him into a human, against his will with her power. So the tree's going to fall on him, and then Wolverine's going to come help lift the tree. So she turns the tree to gold so it crushes them both.
Dope.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's super dope.
One of the things I really like about, I think, these 4 issues specifically is just how much fun they have with the powers, right? Like, and it's something that you and I really focus on when we talk about the X-Men stuff, because like in the last issue when Colossus just forgot that he was Colossus, he was like, "I'm gonna punch you like a dude." But here, like, seeing Jean Grey like manipulate the mutant gene to a degree, and then also seeing like them all having to figure out how to save themselves falling out of a exploded airplane is really cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So Storm comes up and she's gonna try to stop Jean Grey. And everyone since this is a Claremont comic, everyone is nonstop recapping stuff that happened a long time ago.
No, dude.
We're gonna skip that.
Yeah.
But she's in her head. Everyone is just like, she is my friend, my sister. That kind of stuff. It doesn't work. She gets zapped.
Yes.
Colossus or not Colossus. I'm doing it.
Yes.
Cyclops and Nightcrawler walk up and they don't even get a scene. Jean Grey just goes and shuts them down.
She hits them from 100 different ways at once, and the last 2 X-Men drop in their tracks. Very cool. Like, just absolutely wiping the floor with the X-Men in like under 2 pages. Very dope.
Nothing.
And then is like, "Okay, I'm out of here. I'm done with you guys. You'll never see me again. My destiny is in the stars. Swim you later," and then just fucking leaves.
Incredibly alpha move.
Yes, I love it.
We cut over to the police at the Hellfire Club, kind of doing a statement and stuff, and we mentioned Senator Kelly was there. We find out that Pierce and Leland got really hurt, or Wingard and Leland got really hurt, so they're being taken to the hospital. Senator Kelly is like, "Hey, I'm really sorry about this," to Shaw, and Shaw says, "Hey, here's something we can do. You don't need the Fantastic Four or the Avengers or anything. Here's a way that you can do it within your power as a presidential candidate. How about Sentinels? Bring them back."
Yep.
Which I forgot that Shaw did this.
Yes.
This is cool chessmaster bullshit.
Mm-hmm. And it's especially despicable because he is a mutant and he hangs out with a bunch of mutants. Like, it's not like he's immune to the Sentinels. He just it's just that kind of hubris of him being like, "Oh, if I can control this so that they'll only kill the mutants that I want them to kill."
We'll get Emma Frost to make a device.
Yeah, of course. She's great at it. She loves making devices.
Absolute tinker. The famous. We call her Maker.
While this conversation is happening, a full Phoenix presents itself above them, and it's terrifying. And this display attracts the attention of people all over the world. So we go around like kind of a check-in of Fantastic Four because it showed up on Reed Richards' instruments. With Ben Grimm, conveniently asking, "Did Galactus step on Yancy Street?" Like, can you just? I mean, it's not the center of the universe. Like, I don't care about the bodegas on Yancy Street, Ben Grimm. Like, just leave it alone. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. It's very good. This is also very famous. This everyone reacting thing. Fantastic Four, Spider-Man just being like, "Whoa." I love Doctor Strange being like, "What does this mean for Doctor Strange?" Is his question. And then Silver Surfer for just a second being like, "Maybe she'll be like me." Like,
maybe I won't be so alone.
Incredible incel energy of the Silver Surfer.
And it doesn't, because at the bottom, editor-in-chief Jim Shooter has put up a note of like, "If you want more of the Silver Surfer, see, Epic Illustrated #1. And I'm like, I don't want to see any more of this sad boy. Like, I just got done with the Robert Pattinson Batman, and that actually was way too sad for me. So I don't need more of this. I promise you.
The extremely like way sillier version of it.
But Dark Phoenix is flying into space. She soars spacewards to fill her malefic destiny.
Somebody later says, "Let your malefic destiny
perfect.
take over."
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate that.
I love that people just say malefic Destiny all the time.
God, doesn't
this comic.
I know we've got Malekith in Elden Ring, but Malefic seems like it would be an area, right? Like the Malefic ruins or something. Like I'm surprised that hasn't shown up in a From Software game yet.
Yeah, the Malefic Crucible. So this is happening. They're flying out in space. They go past a space station.
Oh, not yet. This is.
Oh no, that's a little bit later.
Yeah, this is.
They
this
go
is
past
Beast
the
plane.
Quinjet.
Yeah,
where Beast is flying in.
You know, we were introduced to Beast by saying, like not more than 5 blocks away, where he's waiting for blah blah blah, and then he took like a full fucking like Phoenix explosion to get out here. Like what path did he take? He is flying a plane.
And it looks like he's flying through space.
Yeah, where did he go?
The suborbital flight, like 10 blocks down the street to the Hellfire Club.
I know people think that, like, you know, because like pilots would be like, oh yeah, we don't go in a straight line, we actually do like a curve thing because, you know, it's shorter because of the way the world is curved or anything. And I just wonder if like Beast is just up his own ass. It's like, oh, if I fly to Mars and then fly back, like I've technically traveled a shorter. And I'm like, no, dude, that's not how it works. You've been gone for 2 years.
Like, yeah, we've all aged. He lands. You know, he revives the X-Men at this point, helps everybody, wakes everybody up, lifts the golden tree, you know, and lifts the golden tree. So they're all gonna head out. We cut over to them heading out to where Professor X and Angel are in New Mexico. Everyone, you know, he's saying like, hey, I erased the tape. Once an X-Men, always an X-Men. And they're setting up this internal conflict that he's gonna have. Yeah. He's not there yet, but he's gonna start feeling conflicted about this stuff. Probably gets followed up on in Avengers.
Xavier is meanwhile checking in with Moira. Both of them have picked up this Phoenix manifestation on their scans. Moira is like, this definitely feels like a cosmic thing, and Professor Xavier is like, yeah, this I think the Phoenix is completely out of control. And when Warren asks what happens, Xavier helpfully says, the simple explanation is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I just want Warren to walk over and just slap him on the back of his bald head and be like, can you just talk like a normal fucking person? Like that doesn't, I know that that's a thing, but you can't talk in phrases, Xavier. Like, this is my friend.
It's also, don't you think it oversimplifies the Dark Phoenix a little bit to say that?
Yeah, 100%.
Like that phrase is not generally used for Phoenix style stuff, Xavier. Xavier's very funny in all these issues. Here's where Dark Phoenix passes the space station with Peter Corbeau on it. You know, so we're going to have him show up. He's going to talk to the president later in one of my favorite scenes. And then a very famous like Marvel thing that later got, I can't remember if this got retconned or they wanted it to be retconned. Mm-hmm. This is the origin of why there's like Madeline Pryor, and when they find the Phoenix egg down at the bottom of the ocean and Inferno and all that stuff, it all comes down to this moment here. And I get confused a little bit, like remembering what got retconned about this, but I know this was highly controversial. Yeah. This was a really big deal.
So
in the comics,
Phoenix rolls up and she's passing Jupiter, and she's like, I need to go to a galaxy far, far away. Hat tip to Gary's favorite franchise.
Had to do a little shout out.
And she creates a
recent blockbuster,
her own Stargate, so she can travel millions of light years away. And when she does this, she realizes like, oh, my power is not like infinite yet. Like I still, like that took a lot out of me. But luckily there's a star over there, so I can just go fly into it and basically speed up its blah 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 blah. It's star stuff. Yeah, and essentially eats the star, causes it to supernova, and then unfortunately does not care, does not realize that there's an inhabited planet full of 5 billion living sentient beings that lives in this system that depends on that star, who are all wiped out instantly, making her easily the worst Marvel villain by a significant just in sheer
Excepting,
numbers.
Like, it puts her in Thanos and Galactus class for this shit. Like Galactus has done this many times over, but it's really rare for one of our heroes to do this on accident. Yeah, basically. And the prose here is pretty good. I think of like describing the kind of shit that happens.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, he really, it feels like it's still Chris Claremont, but it feels like he reined himself in, so it's not like paragraphs of things. Like it's just real simple, direct, and evocative language.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't talk about how she did this group of goofy ass aliens a favor because they have the worst faces.
Yeah, they
that an alien has ever come up with.
I mean, it like if
you know what they look like? They look like if somebody, if the Sandman, Neil Gaiman's The Sandman was popular enough, and they made Halloween masks of them, and they got enough like melted or something.
Yeah, they've got the weird wrinkles of somebody that like that I associate with people who got like their, I don't know, like got like the gastrointestinal band or something, and so like dropped 60 pounds in 2 months, so they've got like the wrinkly thing happening because the skin hasn't like become taut around again. Like that's what their face looks like. It looks like their face got like really really big, and then they took it away, and so their skin just is all in flaps. And yeah, they all have the same. They all have Morpheus
haircut.
Yeah,
they all got horrible Morpheus dream hair. But they didn't deserve to die.
And of course, they're an ancient peace-loving race. Like,
yes,
it just made it real easy for everybody to hate Jean Grey.
They love peace.
If this was the Kree, people would be like, I mean,
the Skrull would be like, game recognized game. Like they'd be giving her high fives and gift baskets.
Oh yeah.
The cool thing about a Skrull gift basket is that it turns into a tote.
Ooh,
it can turn into any kind of vessel.
I love it.
This is seen by a Shi'ar ship.
Yes.
That is watching. It's the most advanced Shi'ar warship on its maiden voyage.
Yeah.
And we get introduced to these little guys. We learn about the planet's called Dabari. And we learn about this guy, Captain, what's his name? Ding Dong or something. I don't know who these guys are. I think it's
like Connor.
I don't like the Shi'ar.
Yeah, it's boring.
Juber.
Yeah, there you
Captain
go.
Juber.
Yeah. Juber. I barely know her. Am I right?
There's nothing fucking dorkier than the Shi'ar.
Dude, is so stupid. I'll just before
Why do they look like this?
Before we get too far past it, the 3 panels where the planet is exploding are fucking gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to mention it before we got too far.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's really good. The art is really impeccable. Like you can't do anything about the Shi'ar designs.
No.
And I say that even though John Byrne probably made them.
Yeah.
But once you're trapped in there, you're trapped in there.
Yeah. Once you made a bird person, you're fucking. Once you create one bird person, Gary, build as many bridges as you like. But no.
Yep. You watch 2 dogs fuck for $10, and that's all you're known for. Yeah.
They see that it's the Phoenix, and they fire on her. Because I mean, it's an evil being that's destroying this world, so they're trying to take her out. And she immediately just fucks up the ship so bad that they have to call Lilandra, who was just like sleeping. And I don't know how time works, but I just find it very funny that she's like in the bed when they call. I don't know why. It's just
everyone's sleeping, and they spend some attention to it. Like, Chamberlain, can you tell us more? I too was sleeping. Like, they do a lot to establish. I love how this implies the Shi'ar's advanced technology, that they're able to have a phone directly ring in a bedroom. That the Avengers don't have.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Presumably this phone rang like several bedchambers at the same time. So they FaceTime a little bit and find out like the ship is just absolutely gone. There's no and like so Phoenix just completely destroyed this thing. So Lilandra's like, this is what I feared from the very beginning, but didn't tell anybody about. So I win. Assemble all my ministers. So I can talk to my ministers. And we, before the end of the issue, we check back in with the X-Men who are back in New York at the X Mansion. Cyclops, they're all standing around the kitchen and talking about Cyclops like he's not there, which I feel like just doesn't happen all the time. Like I feel like this happens a lot. Like I feel like this is going down.
Do you think that anyone has to scream at Beast and Nightcrawler to keep their feet off the fucking counter?
Dude, like, I mean, if Jean Grey was in the room, she'd be like, I'd literally just clean that. Like, I'd literally just applied bleach to it. I cannot have fur all over our cleaning, all over our cooking surfaces.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? This is disgusting.
Can I have our most furry, gross X-Men just rubbing their buttholes on the counter like a cat?
Dude, it's so disgusting. I don't really let our dogs in the kitchen very often because the way that our kitchen is laid out, like there's walking room for at least 2 people to kind of go around our giant island that we built. But like if you mixed in dogs, it gets real complicated real quick. So we usually just like have them outsourced to the living room. And I now that they stay in there and the kitchen doesn't get like super like had a lot of fur on the floor, like I can't stand for them to be in there at all. Like it's like no, you got to get out of here. You can't be here.
Mm-hmm. I hope to have a kitchen that I can, or a place at some point that is big enough to where I can keep animals out of a room. Right now, there's only one place that makes sense to put their food. Otherwise, like, where am I going to put it?
Yeah.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
My bedroom?
Yeah. And man, there's something weird about food in the bathroom, even if it's for pets. Like I'm not a food in the bathroom. I don't bring water in there to drink or anything. Like I'm a weird guy.
No, I wouldn't do that to my pets. I don't like having food in the bathroom. It's gross. They're all talking about their plan. They're like, oh, what are we going to do? Beast is like, well, or Wolverine says it's going to happen the exact same way it happened before. Like she fucked us up and she's going to do it again. Beast is like, well, I'm here now and I might be able to come up with some gadgets that can help. And Scott at this point realizes through his link that she's coming back to Earth to destroy Earth. That doesn't happen. She shows back up at Earth, but then they get kidnapped, but she's heading back. I don't know why she left in the first place. It's a little silly. But it's fine.
Well, I mean,
she's got to fight the X-Men.
You're a cosmic being. You eat stars. You're going to go find some stars, right? Like, I mean, like to me, like what the fuck is on Earth?
She's on the other side of the universe. She just stargated to the Dubai or whatever.
Yeah.
She could just keep hanging out there.
If I wanted to eat stars, I'd go to the good part of town where they have the good star restaurants.
Yeah. the good stars.
Yeah. Book. The hole in the wall stars. You know what I'm saying? The real authentic stars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Real Italiano. So yeah, with this takes us into the next issue. Here, 136. Another every cover is iconic as hell. Very famous cover of Cyclops holding Phoenix, and she looks like she's dead.
Yes.
And everyone behind is freaking out. Real good.
My app is lagging, so please stand by because it's not loading.
It's okay.
Why is the Marvel app so fucking bad? There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is the iconic cover that I remember like vividly as a kid, like just him holding her dead body while all of the X-Men are just around. Yeah, this is great. I love this.
Yeah, really, really great cover. And then the splash page of this is wonderful. The beginning of this where it shows Dark Phoenix flying with this huge like magenta Phoenix creature grabbing a sun behind her. I love like the color scheme of this. It's like real cool, groovy 70s stuff, even though this is the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
This looks incredible. I would love like a big poster print of this.
Absolutely. Yeah, this looks so great.
Yeah.
And we go to the Shi'ar where Lilandra has assembled her ministers, which are just a group of
who's
weird
this funky crew?
group of weird guys. This really reminds me of the animated series scene where they go to Mojo World and then there's that pan through the audience where you just see all of the audience and it's just a bunch of creepy little weirdos and it's just
a bunch of kooky creeps.
Yeah, and these are like creepy little weirdos, but they're aristocrats.
I love it so much. One of them I recognize as Chode. Chode's here.
Chode's here.
So Chode's on your panel of diplomats.
Yeah, what is Chode doing here? Or a Chode-like guy, I guess.
Yeah, maybe just one of the Chode's race. I don't want to be racist against Chode.
Yeah, you never know, man. There's also a xenomorph at the table, which I respect.
Yeah,
I like that I like the implication there. Like the Brood isn't at the table. You know what I'm saying? But like the xenomorph is. Lots of implications.
It's such a great little creepy dudes. They're just talking about what they have to do.
Yep.
They're like, oh, I know her. She's great usually, but now she's horrible. Here's what she did. We're recapping.
They keep referring to her as a beneficent entity. And it feels
like it's the opposite of Malefic.
Yeah, and it feels real like the MRA Reddit talk. You know what I'm saying? Like it just has that vibe. She's
the dentist system.
She's a Terran female, a beneficent entity, and a Terran female. Like, dude, that's a name. Just call her Jean. What are we doing?
I love also the big guy on the right of the table on the next page, like the big Snuffleupagus worm.
Yes.
The guy's doing there like, yes, this is important to me as well. I'm an ambassador. And then we get to like my favorite things that ever happened in X-Men. I totally forgot, which is Jimmy Carter.
Yep.
yelling at Jarvis.
Jarvis, you mean? I'm sure you meant Jarvis.
Mr. Jarvis, I understood that there's to be an Avenger always here that's supposed to monitor my calls. I've been calling for some time without a response. Drag his ass, Jimmy Carter.
Get him, Jimmy. Get him. The best president we ever had.
God, love Carter.
I'm sure Jarvis is out there like, why don't you go build another house, you asshole? I got this.
There's some extraterrestrial attack. We got to be ready for it. Jarvis is going to go assemble the Avengers here. He apparently doesn't.
No, because
he notices Beast wasn't there, but the Avengers really never show up during this,
which is good.
They had to wait until Avengers vs. X-Men.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that they didn't bother with bringing the Avengers in on this. So, Meanwhile, Beast is using his feet and hands to build your basic mnemonic scrambler, which is basically just like a little crown that they need to put on her, which will fry her brain enough so that she can't use any of her powers or even think straight. Cyclops spends some time thinking about like how it sucks to be a mutant that can't control his powers.
This is so wild to me. Like nobody in Claremont's X-Men ever gets over anything. So Storm is like, Scott, are you okay? And he goes, just a second, Storm, to put on his glasses, and just thinks out loud why he has to put on his glasses.
Yeah, I gotta think about all of this. Like we don't know.
Like he doesn't know. Everyone knows. There's no reason for this to be here. This is the kind of shit that people like. This is what, as much as this comics run is great, this is the kind of stuff that makes it fatiguing. Mm-hmm. Just nonstop repetition of information. He continues, like, I had to be careful. I don't want to blow a hole in the wall. I've had to be careful since the day I was born. Just continuing, going on. He basically says he has to tamp it all down because he's under a lot of stress. Yeah. Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler are the dum-dums in the team. And they say as much. Like, we're not the brains of the operation. They're fighting a danger room machine.
Yeah. And it's just a spinny thing.
Yep. There's no weapons on it or anything. It's just a big metal propeller.
And it's bonkers to think about the cost of running the danger room before they do all of like the Shi'ar tech hard light stuff, like before it turns into the holodeck, right? Like now, like presumably like they had to put a bunch of raw materials into a machine to make this, right? Or like it's ridiculous to think. And he's like, okay, take care of it. And it's like, I did it again. Colossus just rips an arm off and just shoves it into the motor to stop it. Like that's ridiculous.
Whoever's job it is in the X-Men just to create new pieces of technology for the X-Men to punch, mm-hmm. And the training never really seems to relate to the fights they get into.
Not at all. Like we just never see it. We like occasionally they'll do the thing where they have to like switch up the targets, right? Like I think that's about as close as we get with anything as far as real world expectations for the danger room. But they realize they're in here just killing time and trying to make themselves feel better by exercising, but instead they just feel worse because it's Jean and she's gone crazy.
It's almost like, not to take us back too much, it's almost like the danger room, they all thought Arcade would be their biggest villain. So everything in the danger room trains them to fight gigantic pinball machines.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Like they keep fighting the Hellfire Club and the Goblin Queen and Apocalypse, and like, well, fuck.
We don't know how to do this at all.
Fight a gigantic. Yeah. Where's a big propeller? I was told there'd be gigantic wrecking balls.
I feel like they do this
only every like 50
in
issues.
Later X-Men stories where they actually have like psionic defense training and stuff like that, so it actually makes sense. But yeah, right now it feels very much like Iceman throw an ice ball kind of situation. Yep. He's like, wait, how am I supposed to do that against a cosmic? I'm just an Iceman. I'm not Cosmo. I don't know what you want me to do here.
Listen, can I fight some kind of gigantic metal arm? Damn it, it's Harry Leland. What do I do?
I don't know.
A scene. So one of the things in rereading this, it was making me think of the movie, Dark Phoenix, the most recent X-Men.
Okay.
Movie.
Sophie Turner, not
and how
what is her name? Famke Jensen, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Sophie Turner version, and how like that was a bad adaptation. We talked about it a lot. But it does hit a lot of the points from this comic.
Yeah.
Like there's a version of this next scene in that, and I forgot this was part of the comic, because it frankly doesn't make tons of sense.
No.
Like, I don't really know why she came back.
I think, like, trying to put myself into, like, Chris Claremont's head and what he wanted to, like, put on the page, I feel like this tells us, and again, it's hard to go back to a time where I didn't know anything about the Dark Phoenix, right? Like, the story is so well ingrained in pop culture in general and, like, Me and Your Lives specifically, because we've seen so many adaptations of it. We've read this, we've watched the animated series, all that. Like, this is, I think, what he's trying to do is show that Jean Grey is still in there to a degree. Like, there's still hope to save her, right? Like, there's still an opportunity that she hasn't been fully possessed by the Dark Phoenix. So, like, showing the readers, like, hey, your favorite character is still in there. Like, she hasn't gone full villain. Like, there's going to be a battle for it, which sets us up for, the hilariously, like, very simple way that they fix this problem at the end and how it all goes bad right after
by asking her to stop.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Yeah. So fucking
yeah. I that's fair. I think that's probably true.
But
it's also a thing where Chris Claremont really made Jean's family like part of a supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jean's sister showed up in a lot of stuff back in the day for just being a lady.
Yeah. It's and I always, like, I remember coming up, and again, that idea that I've talked a lot on this podcast about having huge gaps in my X-Men knowledge because of what I had access to, right? Like, watching the animated series out of order and just kind of putting together this tapestry of stuff. So, like, anytime Jean Grey's parents were into it, I'm like, well, what is their deal? What's going on over there?
Yeah,
like, I bet there's something secret.
Yep.
And it really, they're just too stuffy. Yeah, it's just too stuffy to parents. So Dark Phoenix goes to her childhood home. Her dad and her mother meet her. Of course, they're all sleeping. Her sister's there as well. They can kind of instantly tell that she's all fucked up, and not only because she's wearing, like, a superhero outfit at midnight, but also because every time she talks, it's surrounded by black emphasis
fire. Yeah. She's constantly yelling at them and, like, glaring at them. She's wearing tons of eyeshadow. And she's overwhelmed at this point. Like, she can't not read her parents' mind. I love this thing where she's like, like, this, my telepath power is so sensitive, I can't block my dad's thoughts. He's an open book to me. Nothing's secret anymore. Nothing's sacred. It would suck to have the Phoenix power and then talk to your parents, because you would know all of their weird sex stuff immediately.
Like, you wouldn't be able to help yourself. Like, and like, weird sex stuff, I think, would be top. And then, like, you would, like, eventually filter that out, and then it would be, like, the really fucked up stuff, like the secrets they've told nobody, the all of the weird lies, the probably, like, the grudges they had,
the dogs they ran over without telling anybody.
Exactly, like, all of, like, the real dumb human shit that people do and just never say to anybody, and then just having all of that just handed to you at one time would be absolutely disgusting.
One of my friends, I don't want to name them, they don't listen, but I just don't want to name them for reasons that'll become clear in a second. We one time we were hanging out at his house when I was in middle school or high school, and we found a note that his dad wrote, and I'm going to just change his last name for this. And the note said, Mrs. Johnson, please report to the principal's office. Required, no shirt, no bra, skirt, no panties. Which is all pretty mild role play stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was, so now as an adult, I'm like, oh, good for them.
Yeah.
They're still getting it on. As a kid though, me and my friend's reaction to that was pretty devastating.
Absolutely. It's disgusting.
We just like, whoa.
Like, yeah. Like, kids, I mean, it's just your parents don't do that. Like, you shouldn't even have to be exposed to any of that stuff. Meanwhile, my stepdad had, like, the Madonna sex book, like, on his bookshelf.
Oh, sure.
In the living room.
Yeah, I read that thing as well.
Yeah. That was a whole experience. So,
yeah. And do you ever get your hand as a kid on a copy of The Joy of Sex?
No. I had a dubbed VHS copy of Debbie Does Dallas, though, which was also my stepdad's, which is
very similar, classic. It's cool stepdads in this thread. My stepdad, who was not cool, who, like, hit my mom and shit. But he had a copy of The Joy of Sex, and when they would leave for the evening, that was a real, like, awakening thing.
Oh yeah,
in addition to the Madonna sex book.
Whew.
So, The Joy of Sex is written, like, alphabetically.
Okay.
So it goes, it's like our, B is for breast, C is for cock, like things like that, of different sexual things you can do. But it ends up being real weird. Like they end up doing things like armpit, and the illustration stuck in my head of it's like both these like hairy 70s people doing like 70s stinky 70s sex, and it's this guy just licking this girl's armpit.
Okay.
Her furry armpit. And I will never like not have that image. Like it's stuck with me as a kid. It's the kind of thing, if I had a different life trajectory, it would have created a real fetish.
Sure. Because you'd be so fascinated with the idea.
I can bring it up instantly.
Yeah. Oh man, that's absolutely terrifying. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, don't. You shouldn't be. It's weird. It's weird because like I think about like, because nowadays when I see my friends who have kids now and they're like real concerned about them going onto the internet, and like I've been asked so many times of like, how do I keep my kids off of pornographic websites? And I'm like, dude, you don't. You remember what we did, right? Like we sought it out. Like we would go to the woods and it would just be there. Like you can't control this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's wild to think that, like, because I as an adult, as a grown person, I would never hand a 13-year-old child like a fucking Playboy, even like a 1980s Playboy, right? Like it's just like the softest core porn imaginable. Like I just would not. I don't want to have those interactions at all. Like it's just not appropriate. But like I don't know, man. Like it's wild because I don't think that I grew up bad because of it. But you know what I'm saying? It's just a weird situation. Like I don't know how I would handle it as an adult now at all.
There's a real weird kind of like older guy too who takes like a joy in non-sexual, like I need to clarify this because it's going to sound more purient than it is, a non-sexual joy in like that kind of thing. Like just being like, hey, check that out, nudie mag.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
they're not turned on because the kids turned on.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of like into this idea of teaching the kid about boobies.
Yeah. Big bad uncle energy of like,
Yes.
Yeah. But just like, look at, look at this picture of
the Dark Uncle Saga.
The Dark Uncle Saga, absolutely. But yeah, very much like, I'm the bad uncle, so I can show this child a picture of titties or something. Which, man, when you say it like that, like it's bonkers, right? Like it's like you should not do that. Like it sounds so fucking bad. Like I don't know, man. I can't wrap my hehead around.
It's a good way the world has changed, right? Because like that sounds really disgusting to us now, and we're old men.
Yeah.
So old men who are not going to have kids, but still, if we were to raise kids, we'd be like, yeah, that shit sucks.
Yes.
If I don't have nephews, but I have close friends who have kids, so I kind of have, the nieces and nephews, and I like the last thing in the world I would ever do is be like, hey son, do you want to check this out? Like I know that's fucked up and fuck up a kid and doesn't, it's not good.
I want to be the uncle that lets them play the video games they're not supposed to play, right? Like that's my vibe. Like I have one nephew who's like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 now. Time flies. And then both of my 2 other sisters just got married, and I think both of them are going to try having kids eventually. So I'm expecting other nephews and nieces along the way, but I very much want to be like the cool fucking uncle. I don't want to be the pervy uncle that doesn't get invited to any place, right? Like it's just fucking disgusting. And like thinking about it now, I just like very specifically remember like several pervy uncles who would like, just weird jokes and things like that and just making kids uncomfortable. And now I'm just really skeeved out by it. Having an awakening on this podcast.
Legit earliest memories was going and getting my tonsils taken out, and my uncle hitting on the nurse using me as like a proxy.
Oh, joy.
Through this, like the nurse had to put a shot in my butt for some reason. I don't know why they didn't use my arms, but I had to get a shot in my butt. And my uncle, who was sitting there talking to me / the nurse, was like, all right, now tell her that it's her turn.
Oh, great.
And like,
yeah,
I'm fucking 6, sir.
Yeah.
I'm 7.
Yeah. Please stop trying to score at my dentist office. Can we just like, I'm already embarrassed that I had to pull my pants down.
I'm in a fucking hospital bed.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
You fucking crazy person. Yeah.
wrong with you?
And I bet,
yeah.
like, I feel like, and 6 is maybe a little too early, but I feel like 12-year-old Jeremy would have come home and told that story to mom and stepdad or dad and stepmom or whatever. And oh, that's just Uncle so-and-so. That's just how he is. We'd been completely laughed off. Yeah. And now I'm thinking like, oh shit, like a lot of this stuff was real fucked up. Like we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. We did horrible things to kids.
Imagine.
And it's not the worst thing that we do to kids. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But it is just like, man, it's fucked up.
We imagine having a fucking child nowadays, dude. I just can't imagine it. I can't wrap my head around the idea or the desire or anything. Like I'm so far removed from it that when people ask me nowadays, I have to stop myself from laughing when they ask me about it nowadays because I'm so far down the road. I'm like, I mean, we've decided not to.
Yeah, no, we're good. Like it's the world. This isn't a good world right now, and I'm gonna do some good while I'm here, and then I'm gonna die, and it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so.
I don't have to worry about my kid like hunting cats for food.
Yeah,
in the future. Anywho, Jean Grey threatens her parents by turning a potted plant into a gemstone plant.
I love this. I don't know about you. I was so fascinated with the idea of this crystal plant. Like, what did they do with it afterwards? Like, because it's a fucking like it's just a accident waiting to happen, right? Like,
it's one of the weirdest threats any character has ever made in the X-Men.
Yeah. What I do to this plant, I can just as easily do to you. And they're like, oh, they turned it into crystal. And I'm like, you just ate a planet. Like you just
it's real penny ante shit after eating the sun. Like, I love like what I did to this plant. Like it's so easy to do almost anything to a plant.
The big thing here is that being so exposed to her parents' thoughts, she realizes that they're scared of her, and this sets her on the path to realize, like, oh, I am no longer your daughter anymore. I am the Dark Phoenix. I am the Phoenix, and she's going to leave when she notices, like, oh, it's kind of foggy outside, but she scans and she can't see any of the X-Men, and out of nowhere, Nightcrawler teleports in, slams the device onto her head, and then jumps away, letting Beast catch him, which has to feel fairly embarrassing. And
got her.
This device immediately like sets her off. Like she starts having the excruciating pain. She can't use her powers. Colossus is able to grab her out of the air, but she's still like Jean Grey. So she, even though she can't do psionic stuff, like she still kicks the shit out of him when he does it.
Yeah. The idea is she still has some power, but not all of it. This is the X-Men going up and fighting her, and they're all pulling their punches.
Yes.
You know, Storm comes up and is trying to reason with her. Phoenix zaps her.
Shout out to Storm's thigh highs for having those holes still. So
she does have the holes. I just never noticed the holes.
I don't in 30 fucking years of reading X-Men, I don't think I've ever noticed those goddamn holes. Like never put a thought in my brain about them until now. Now every single time I go back and read Storm, I'm like, where are the holes? Where are the holes in her shoes?
Mm-hmm. There they are. Whole consistency.
Yeah, she's able to ward off Storm. It's telling her that she will, because they're so dope, because they're so close friends, that she will weep over Storm's grave, which seems rude.
Yep.
Beast tries to grab her, and then Wolverine is able to tackle her out of Beast's hands into the water, where Jean Grey gains control for just a few seconds, and she tells him, "Do it. Like I'm being possessed. I can't get rid of this. I don't want to." And before he even has the reaction, she says, "Hurt you," and blast him off of her. Which this is a huge thing in X-Men lore, right? Of this, Wolverine being the only one willing to
Wolverine mercy killing Jean Grey.
Yeah.
The beginning of that. She overloaded her device, so basically everyone pulling their punches bought her enough time.
Should have had Amber Ross make it.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Now I love this panel. Because it didn't work, she freezes them all in place and puts them in a T-pose.
Yes. Basically, so good.
And floats them down. It gets really good. This is actually called something. It's not a T-pose. This is called like an M-pose or something.
Okay.
I don't know, with their arms down to the side. They're begging her again, and it's not working until Cyclops walks up. And she's like, "Oh, have you come here to die?" And he's like, "No, I came to talk." She says she won't listen. He's like, "All right, well then kill me. I can't stop you. You're the Phoenix. But if you can't kill me, you should ask yourself why." and she's trying to be all blustery. She's like, oh, you're not worth killing. And he's like, no, that's one answer, but really it's because you're Jean Grey. Like, you love us. Love is what you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the X-Men, you're made of this.
Yes.
You're, and he basically talks the Phoenix out of being the Phoenix.
Yeah. He gets through to her, hey, you're a being of love. You can't deny that. You can't deny yourself. And she realizes, and she's like, oh, but I mean, you're right, but I have this like hunger and I can't stop it. Like it's totally consuming me.
Love eating suns.
I had it.
Like, if you had a sun chip, this is like 1,000 times better.
You ever had any Sunny D? That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, this is 10 times better.
God, I don't know if you saw the viral video of the dude doing a shrimp boil with Sunny D. Yeah, and like he's like a relatively famous dude in New Orleans, but like I can't tell you the amount of people that DM'd me and was like, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm on the other side of the river. We don't even season our shit the same way, dude. You're getting to regionalities here. They want to use Sunny D to get it, dude. I don't care. That's not my bag.
Saxville baggins. We don't do that shit.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm in a whole different fucking part of the Shire, bro. What are we doing?
Yeah.
As they're having this conversation, and it looks like Cyclops is going to be able to get through to her, out of nowhere rolls in Xavier, who blasts her with a mind blast because he says he has no alternative. But of course, this doesn't put her out of commission for very long. And as she wakes back up, she's fully Dark Phoenix, and she blasts Cyclops away, and then blasts Xavier out of his chair onto the ground. Where they're going to get into a huge psionic fight.
Yep. And it's really fucking everything up. But it works. The combination of Cyclops getting through to Jean and Professor X putting in psionic circuit breakers brings Jean back.
Yeah. I will say, you and I typically do not like, go into the astral plane, all that kind of stuff. This is really well done. Like this for a psionic battle, the way that it's all of the panels are done, like the real bright, like yellow color for Xavier's face versus the pink / magenta of the Phoenix stuff. I love this page a whole lot. I think it's great.
I think the fact that it's a page is the operative.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like typically sonic battles last a couple of, like an issue or something like that, and they suck. This is this is so funny. Cyclops runs up and he's like, oh, hopefully Jean's still okay. What if she's the Phoenix still? I'll still love her, for better or worse. He starts just doing vows.
Yeah.
And she wakes up and is like, that sounded like a proposal. And he's like, yeah, it did. Do you want to marry me? She's like, yeah.
What if he was like,
wait, what?
No, I was just saying that I love you. Like I wasn't a vibe. Like it was just a vibe. It wasn't a proposal. Like if it was a proposal, I'll be down on one knee. And she's like, you're on one knee now. I'll just put you there. Oh, my bad.
You're on both. Whenever Claremont's writing me, I think all the time, Gene, I can't stop my internal monologue. Thinking. I'm sorry. Yeah. So they propose to each other. This is just to add extra tragedy.
Yeah, for the next issue. I always get a little weird when people start making out after like presumably some real life-changing shit happens. Like I can't imagine a time that you'd want to make out less. Like I get it. I get the kiss. Like a full make-out situation is always very funny to me though. Agreed.
I also think it's very funny that Angel lands. He's like, oh, I'm here.
Hey guys.
Just to be here for this. I couldn't help with the fight, but I was parking the jet.
They're getting ready to, basically like, hey, we're going to go back home when before anyone can move, they get zapped away. They disappear. And they leave Jean Grey's family behind, thankfully. And then we're going to go to the next issue, a 35-page masterwork.
Yep. If you like the word malefic, you will like this issue.
Here we go.
Again, these banger famous covers. This is maybe the cover of X-Men that has been, this is the X-Men equivalent of that Spider-Man No More cover in terms of getting homage.
Yes.
And Avengers #1 and Fantastic Four #1.
Yep.
Like non-stop homages to this. And I'm always here for it. It's such a bummer that this incredibly iconic issue got stuck with this promotion when they used to put those as part of the art.
Yeah, I saw that when I opened the comic book, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, I mean, this is like one of the most important issues of X-Men history, right? Like, this is one of the biggest and one of the most important, and like to have this Marvel comic could be worth $2,500 to you. Like, it's such a fucking bummer, dude. Like, I hate all of that stuff so bad, so much.
Yeah, the $2,500 was this was at the time this was a promotion. The other promotion that was running was win a Toys R Us shopping spree.
Oh, great, fantastic.
So it could be worse. And again, I'm not turning my nose up at a Toys R Us shopping spree. A Toys R Us shopping spree in 1982 or whatever would be the best day of my life, or 1980. I'm just saying it doesn't make it age super well.
Yeah,
and this is an important story with a lot of gravitas.
Also, I just noticed this as I was looking at the cover. They went up on the price on this one. Like, the previous issue was 40 cents, and this one's 75. 3 whole quarters.
Yeah, double length.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The beginning and bottom of it, Phoenix must die.
Yep.
Super good. It's telling you what's happened here, but it's going to give you some hope.
Yeah.
Great comic. We begin with the Watcher. That's how you know it's serious business.
When the Watcher shows up,
hanging out.
And you
just see inside his house later.
Yeah,
which is real weird. And his little
guy,
servant.
Yeah,
his little guy.
It's a little guy that he has to explain things to. Like, if I build a robot, I want to have to tell the robot things that I already know. Like, I just don't want to do that.
It's also a robot dictaphone. It's like, instead of having the voice memo app on your phone, they made a guy. It's so funny.
Imagine instead of having apps that we had guys. Imagine you had a Twitter guy that lived in your house just shouting tweets at you constantly.
And you just told him what to tweet out, like in between his breaths.
I feel like we're so close to being a Boomer commercial right now.
A Boomer commercial, or like an intolerable Apple Plus limited series.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Apple Plus or below.
Oh, Jesus.
This cannot be an exclusive on Hulu or better.
Watcher explains everything that's been happening and then basically sets the stakes, and is like, the entire universe could be at stake here. This is typically what Watcher does for most of the time. And then we get to the first major page of the issue, where it's a 2-page spread of all of the X-Men just surprised to be on a Shi'ar ship in space.
Freaking out.
Yeah, because they were just teleported there from Earth. And Beast is there like, I don't even have a cell phone yet. Like, how did you guys master teleportation from this is wild.
Also, I'm not wearing clothes. Why did I let them teleport? Why do I fight in my underwear?
This is a bummer. I'm gonna get blue fur
for stuff like this
everywhere.
This is also a very famous image that gets parodied a lot. The most recent time I saw it was in the comic Exiles. They get teleported to this moment.
Oh, cool.
It's basically Quantum Leap. It's real fun. You get to see the Exiles in this pose.
That's awesome.
So they're basically just standing in front of the Shi'ar cadre of weirdos, and we got all these kooky creeps in the background. Saying your fate is in her hand. And immediately Cyclops is like, what are you talking about? The X-Men are your friends. Nothing happened.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. What are you talking about? We're totally under control.
It wasn't me. She's better now.
She's all good.
Trust us.
I mean, and in fairness, they don't know that she ate a sun and destroyed 5 billion people yet. So this is where we get all of that information relayed. So Gladiator tells them the whole story. Jean says like, oh, I felt it all happen. Scott says he felt all of it happen, but he didn't understand what was going on, which is kind of like a metaphor for Scott and his relationship with Jean, if there ever was one. Like, I felt it, but I didn't really get it. You know what I'm saying? I just like,
I know I'm supposed to feel something.
I know you're angry, but I don't really. I mean, is it my fault?
Here's the thing I was thinking about this. So Gladiator tells everybody that Jean Grey did this war crime, and everybody's freaking out. Nobody likes it. Storm is like, I feel bad for Jean, but I don't know if I should feel bad for Jean. I don't know what this says about me. If like right before we record this podcast, Gladiator show up and was like, hey, your friend Jeremy, who you're going to record this with, he killed 5 billion aliens you've never heard of.
Okay.
I don't think my opinion of you would change that much. Like, I don't know who those guys are. I don't know.
Do you think that
some planet on the other side of the galaxy?
I feel like you would ask for some context, right? And if it came out that like it was like, oh yeah, your friend Jeremy, but he was possessed by a cosmic being as old as time, whose entire purpose is to destroy and then recreate things through the fires of the chaotic flame, and you'd be like, Well, I mean, I just know the guy. Like, I don't know anything about that.
Like that shit sucks. But what he does when he's not podcasting is none of my business.
Yeah. Like we've done a lot of podcasts together. Like I've been to his house. There was no cosmic being at his house whatsoever. He didn't even have floors.
Yeah.
Like he barely had a bathroom.
Yeah. like a guy with that kind of power spends this much time remodeling. The entire time I've known him has been remodeling something.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think you got the right Jeremy Greer, man. There's another one in North Louisiana that's like a preacher or something. That sounds more like what you're talking about. Like, let me just do my
They
podcast.
don't even have the same cuisine.
Totally different. It's regional, man.
You want the Sunny D, Jeremy Greer. I don't know. It's a real master strength of empathy to be like, hey, there's some fucked up aliens you've never heard of.
And they
died.
And the number is so staggering too, right? Like a 5. It's one of those things where like if you hear 5 people died, and you see their pictures or whatever, like
you can imagine them.
You can conceive of that. But if you sell somebody like an entire planet full of 5 billion tiny ugly Morpheuses like died, you'd be like, it's not in our universe. I don't know what a Morpheus is. You have to explain that further. That's DC.
And the people part of it is also important.
Yes.
Like I'm not human supremacist. Like I always try not to do that and things. It's one of the reasons why I couldn't get into Mass Effect. It's like a human supremacist series of games, basically, at least initially. But in real life, aliens and that number are too abstract.
Yes.
For me to care about.
It's difficult, right? Like it's a huge thing, and like even if you saw videos of it, right? Like you would need that, like you would almost like want, because it's hard to have empathy for 5 billion people that you've or 5 billion people / aliens that you've never met. You have no capacity to understand. You've never seen any of their culture. Like they just don't exist anymore. Versus like if somebody did the documentary and you were like, oh, there's that tiny alien child, and now that whole world is dead or whatever.
There's her signature red ball they keep showing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Why is there a plastic bag floating? This feels like a wrong vibe for this documentary.
This is really arty. Which of your Imperial Guards did this?
Beast, did you record over the 5 billion dead documentary with American Beauty again? This is not cool, man.
Indubitably, my stars and garters. God damn it, Beast. So Leandra is basically like, listen, I wish that this wasn't the case. Like she's got to go. Cyclone's like, oh, she's suffered enough. Let her be. And they're like, no, she killed 5 billion people. Like, I understand what you're saying, but she's got to go. Professor X invokes Aaron on Halar.
Sure.
Which is a duel.
Yes.
He basically does the trial by combat shit from Game of Thrones.
Yes. Lalondra, game respect games. He's like, you've learned a lot while you were over here, like boning down with me. That's dope. You weren't just sitting around not doing anything.
She talks about combat rituals in her sleep.
Yes. And we've got some other people here. We've got some Kree and some Skrulls here, so that we have to check in with all of them to make sure that it's okay. There's some minor interplanetary bullshit which we don't care about, because at the end of the day, they're going to have at dawn, everybody is going to have a fight. It's really weird to me that they say at dawn. I don't care about it at all. I just like, there is no dawn. There's not that.
I think it's really weird that one of the Imperial Guard is named Earthquake.
Also that, there's no Earth.
It's a real human centric zone. I wish they showed a flashback where Professor Xavier named him or something.
I wish that there would have been a superhero on loan from Dabari, right? Like a guy that was from the planet. Like I feel like that would have really hammered this stuff home. And I'm sure they probably played with those ideas when they were.
I think that they've done that.
Yeah.
I think a Dabarian has shown up at some point.
It has to, right? Like, yeah.
Why are they giving that horrible face? So they're basically doing this. Everyone's okay with it. And they get to rest. So it's going to happen tomorrow. They all get here. Beast gets real weird and real litigious. Like at first in one panel, he's mad because Professor Xavier issued a challenge on our behalf without consulting us. Mm-hmm. And then he's mad because the Phoenix doesn't get a fair trial. As if this is just Earth. Like we do things differently here. It's fucking space, you idiot.
Yeah, dude. Like, what are we? I am just now, because I googled Dabari because I was curious if there was like a specific character, and I guess it never clicked, or I've just never paid attention enough. Even though we definitely covered the Dark Phoenix movie on this podcast, but I just never picked up that the aliens from that were Dabari. Did you?
In the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I knew that at some point, but I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like they have no personalities whatsoever, right? Like they're just like weird shape-shifting people that look like other people, but yeah, very strange.
Oh man, they showed up in Avengers #4. Was their first appearance.
The Dabari did?
Yeah, that's weird.
That is fucking weird.
Representatives Dabari, Bizdable, and Vuk. Vuk is the one from the movie, who the comics version of Vuk is a guy in a metal suit.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to learn more about the Dabari.
Yeah. Stay tuned, everybody. Next episode, we're going to do a deep dive on everything Dabari.
Dabari of Futurecast.
Exactly. Yes.
Nonstop Dabari. I cannot believe they first appeared in the issue where Captain America comes back.
Fucking wild, dude. What in the world was happening in 1964 to put Dabari and Captain America coming back? Like, fucking crazy.
First appearance of Vuk.
Oh, fucking. So after we decide the duel begins at dawn, we're going to do like a series of check-in on all of the X-Men who are giving, I just want to say this, for people that are
spa treatment.
I mean, like lavish accommodations. Like Jean Grey, I would live in this room that Jean Grey is in. She's got like a floating hot plate or something. Like she's got her own. Like you could do some like hot pot in that thing, man. Come on, what's up? Put some.
Every time you end up in a hotel where they give you a robe.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, oh, this is fancy.
Yeah. This is the way.
This is good stuff.
This is the way.
You know, and she has a personal tailor who is her servant.
What? I don't.
This weird little critter. They got this fucked up little cravat alien with 6 fingers on each hand. Like she commissioned a special dress, and they're like, yes, ma'am. And then they're like, hey, can you create a danger room for us? We usually like fighting spokes and bars.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we got spokes and bars for you.
No problem. We can make ours out of light. What do you make yours out of? And they're like,
yeah,
also
metal.
Also light, actually.
Yeah, light. Titanium. Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of adamantium? Like we have some of that.
Oh, you guys are still using adamantium? Fucking dorks. So they're training, doing their thing that the X-Men love to do where they fight bars and spokes.
Yes.
Nightcrawler is just having this really big, everyone is roiling internally about this. He's comparing what Jean did to the Holocaust, which he has feelings about as a German.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to run down the wall, but it has no friction.
Yeah.
So he cannot.
And
Angel manages to catch him, and they're just doing a little training.
This is, because, I mean, and they have this very small, brief exchange where he's having doubts about Jean Grey as well. There's this question of, will we fight for her, right? Like, will we put ourselves on the line to defend somebody that killed 5 billion people? And we switch over to Wolverine, who is like, hey, this place is dope, but I'm not going to live here. And is kind of thinking the same thing. Like, that this is... Jean Grey isn't a killer. I've known her for a long time. She doesn't have that in her. She was possessed, and that makes Jean Grey innocent, which, I mean,
yeah, fair.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But also, like,
yeah, she's going to keep getting possessed.
Yeah.
We cut over to my favorite thing, which is the Beast in a gigantic, like just beautiful Lord Vessel-esque bathtub, scrubbing his feet until his private masseuse he ordered.
Excuse me?
Who in the fucking Shi'ar, like this, every Shi'ar is a different alien for some reason. Like, and he's like kind of horny.
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh, hello.
Yeah. He does the hello nurse thing. And also,
yeah. And she's like, I've been sent to look after your every need. And he goes, oh, my stars and garters. So like Beast is going to get jerked off by a masseuse before he fights the Phoenix.
Wild. Fights for the Phoenix. Like he's going to fight the Shi'ar. Yeah. Like he's going to fight this chick's brother probably. Right. Like,
yeah, we got to jerk you off before. You got to make sure that none of the X-Men are tense. Maybe they believe in the kind of thing where if you come, you like lose your essential energies, like in Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they're like, yes, it's my plan. Because Leandra later, she's like, the X-Men will not win. And it sounds like she has some kind of secret plan.
It's just because they won't win because I made sure they were all jerked off last night.
Yeah. We never see what that secret plan is. I think it's her sending her jerk off patrol.
I just want the panel where it cuts to the Kree guy, who's just like the Captain Marvel clone or whatever. And he's just over there like, yep, that'll do it. Ancient warrior strats, props, Lalandra. You got him. You fucking got him.
We must beat the X-Men. The entire universe hinges on the efforts of our sperm cops.
Jesus Christ. Also, she's all fully in green, and I just think that's funny because considering that he's like, I don't know what his current situation with Agent Brand is, but like for a good amount of modern X-Men, he's like dating Agent Brand, who has green hair.
Exclusively weird aliens.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Colossus gets up and basically says he will fight on behalf of Jean. Storm gets up. I love this little goofy little robot butler. Again, no unified design space.
Nope.
This looks like a specifically like a robot that hung out with the Ninja Turtles named Fugitoid.
Okay. I believe you.
It's almost exactly 1-to-1 a Fugitoid.
That's wild. Storm's having the same kind of crisis of faith, right? Like, hey, I was free. I joined the X-Men. Jean Grey became my sister. And now, the Dark Phoenix symbolizes all of these things that I abhor, but, I love Jean. She's,
yep.
She's my, adopted sister that I've been a teammate with for so long now. And of course, Cyclops is also going through a lot of thought bubbles on this whole situation.
Yeah, he's very upset, which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, the thought bubbles, we're not really covering them because everyone is basically having the same conflict at length, which is a Claremont thing. Just recapping and being like, should I or shouldn't I? Yes, it's Jean. No, it's not. What should I do? He decides he's going to stand by Jean as well.
And the thing that I do want to point out is the last thing that he thinks, which is, I'd like to think that if vengeance is demanded, then we should let God mete it out. I'd rather be on the side of mercy. And I think that's a pretty like powerful through line into who Cyclops is, of like, it's especially just coming off of Avengers versus X-Men, where he does not have that attitude by the end of that, right? Like he literally becomes a god. It's just kind of an interesting like glimpse of like, hey, we can't, if you're gonna do this, like it, I don't know, like maybe I just want to be merciful. And they're like, would you be merciful if it wasn't your wife? And he's like, yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, sure, yeah. She's a redhead.
Whose wife?
I mean, she's a redhead, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm not married to her, but she
you mean
is.
If it was Emma Frost, sure, yeah, of course I would.
Jean Grey arrives in her Marvel Girl uniform, and which he's surprised to see, and she says, maybe it was nostalgia. I started out as Marvel Girl, and this is how I'll finish. Which is our first clue that she's playing a little bit different of a game than the X-Men are in this whole trial by combat situation. Yeah,
I like this. I like that this is all Jean's plan.
Me too.
I also think it's funny that Cyclops was like, where'd you get that? They just made you a costume?
They just made you a costume? Is Kitty Pryde here? Does she do that for us yet? I don't even think she's here yet.
What is up with this weird mixed grill of like just servants they've provided us with?
Do you think Jean Grey is like Cyclops? Through our psychic rapport, I could tell that you turned down the hand job that they offered you last night, which is how I know you're ready to be my warrior.
That's how I know you'll win. They should have done a cover where it's like, lest the universe die, Cyclops must accept this hand job. And then they just show him like cowering under the covers with a dark figure in the background.
Jesus Christ. He's just in a bug room that looks like a masseuse's office.
A bunch of black bugs with rubber gloves on.
Oh God.
So the X-Men have all been jerked off.
Yes.
We're cutting to the next little bit. They're going to the moon for this fight.
I guess there is a dawn.
Very famous
I guess we could, because like you see the Earth in the background and like the sun is on America. So I guess this is at dawn or whatever. I'll retract my statements that that's a dumb thing to do.
Well, they're presumably in Shi'ar space before they flew to the moon.
But whatever.
So who knows?
Who cares?
I don't know what Shi'ar space is about.
Yeah.
Cyclops does the thing like, you don't have to fight if you don't want to, and everyone's like, no, we're with you. And they say like, hey, if the X-Men lose, we get to do with Jean Grey what you want. Do you agree? And they're like, yes.
Cyclops is like, within reason, right? Like,
yeah.
Don't make this weird. You guys are bird people. I don't know what you get up to in your own privacy. I don't like this.
And this is where Araki, her shitty little advisor guy, is like, what if they win? And she's like, they won't win. They've all been milked.
We've all been milked. They get teleported to the blue area of the moon, which Beast recognizes because he's got Avengers file access. This is just an area of the moon that has like a bunch of shit laying over top of it, but also has a breathable atmosphere. But it's not very big.
But only in this crater.
Yeah. So if you go,
it's real weird. How funny is it what Angel does right here?
I love it, dude. I love it.
Like,
Angel is such a
pages.
Angel is such a dumbass, dude. He's just like, I'm gonna go get him, and he just shoots up, and there's like, wait, gravity. There's a gravity. Oh, yeah. Bye. Warren's dead.
Oh, no gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just flies out into the atmosphere where there's no gravity or air.
Fucking dumbass.
Immediately, without even thinking. Everyone's like, no.
I love this this panel at the bottom of the page where Cyclops is telling Storm to go get him, and you can just see him like spiraling down in the background.
Whoa. Like, be careful, Storm. I don't want you flying into space as well. The X-Men shouldn't kill 2 of our members on purpose before the fight. That's bad tactics.
Storm tells
I don't know.
Storm tells Angel to go limp so she can catch him, and he's like, no problems there. I got milked last night.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just kind of beats himself up, like he's like, I'm a dumbass. And Cyclops like, next time, thank you, idiot. Which Cyclops is through line through this.
Yeah.
Which is great. They're coming. The Wolverine, without flying up into the atmosphere, just spotted them.
Yes.
The Imperial Guard. So they split up into 2 teams. The idea is they're going to use these ruins to their advantage to do this fight.
And we're going to...
So we have Nightcrawler, Angel, Jean Grey, and Cyclops go one way. Colossus, Wolverine, Beast, and Storm go another.
And we're going to get a lot of fight scenes with a lot of talking about their powers and their names because we don't really know these people very well. And even if we did, we would have to remind them. So we start out when Starbolt appears and attacks Team Cyclops. He's got, star fire powers. I can't remember the psionic chick's name in this. Oracle. There it is. Oracle. And then Smasher is there too. Guess what his power is, Gary?
Yeah, he's Smasher is great because Smasher is the in the Grant Morrison X-Men. This is the Imperial Guard they send to Earth who lands next to the cow.
Love it.
Before the invasion. Yeah, I have a soft spot for Smasher just because of that.
Meanwhile, Team Storm runs into Warstar. Which is a robot-looking dude driven by like a tiny little dude.
A robot who lives in his back.
Always a pleasure when a tiny dude gets out of your neck. Always a good time. I don't care who you are.
Gotta get a tiny dude.
I love it. I love a tiny dude driving a bigger dude around. I think it was maybe Mad Max that set me up for that, or Debbie Does Dallas. I don't know. It could be either one. I had VH copies of both. One of
the other. Very Master Blaster. Mm-hmm. Colossus is going to fight the big dude. Little dude comes out to fight Beast.
Yep.
At this point. And then this is all superfluous because Wolverine and Storm are about to join, and Gladiator just fucks him up and drops him on the ground. The 3rd time in this set of comics that somebody just rips a ground out from under somebody and makes them fall as an attack.
And the 2nd time, Storm has given Wolverine a wedgie because she catches him with the back of the underwear again.
That's true. Do you think at some point Wolverine would just put a handle on his back?
I would. Like, if you can't fly, like I would have like a harness so that it was easy for flyers to carry me around, right? Like that'd just be, I built it into my outfit, my costume. Maybe there's a button I press instead of a parachute. It's just like a harness,
little storm
handle. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like hold
Wolverine
here.
Should be tied to her wrist like a mitten at this point. Like,
there's a running gag in the Supernatural fandom because the boys they used salt shotgun shells to shoot ghosts. That's how they kill a ghost. And they're constantly like, before they can shoot the ghost, like someone like knocks the shotgun out of their hand. It's like, just get a little band. Let's get a little rope and just pull it back and then shoot the ghost. You're done. It happens every episode. Learn. That's
fools.
Earthquake appears. Does not look like anything like an Earthling would, just but also has earthquake powers. Wolverine is bounced into a weird force field area. And
a crystal building, a building of pure crystal.
Yeah. And Storm, meanwhile, is holding off her the earthquake attack with her powers, which aren't great. Like it's causing her a lot of work to use her powers up here on the moon.
Not very much atmosphere.
Yeah.
She staggers Earthquake, but then what is her name? Hussar, who's got to be one of the lamest members of the Imperial Guard. It's just a red lady with a whip.
Well, she's got hooves.
And like a skullet.
That's pretty dope. Like,
which is hooves. That's not a power.
But I mean, hooves.
That's your horse brain thinking that.
Hooves are dope, though. I'm just saying. Like, I mean, she's different. Look, if your character in Elden Ring could have hooves, would you use it?
No.
Really?
I like feet. Yeah.
Weird.
I like feet.
I was making a new character today.
I ride a horse for that.
And Autumn was watching. And I was going through because she'd never seen me create a character, so she wants me to go through all of the options. And she was like, "Where's the mullet? I want you to have a mullet." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, there's no mullet. I'm so sorry, can't happen." I would also take a skullet though. So
yeah, it's not Tony Hawk where they have that.
Yeah,
she's only lame because she's on a team with Gladiator, like, which is true of everybody. But it just seems like having a whip is pretty weak. In the Imperial Guard.
It's a neuro whip though, right? That's
yeah.
No, still not doing it for you.
No,
not really.
No neuro whips. So together they take out Storm.
Yes, and we check back in with Team Cyclops, who was in full combat with the rest of the Shi'ar team. But they're not like winning by any means. They're just holding their own, which is what Nightcrawler is thinking. And realizing that he is just so far out of his own depth here. And it's at this point that Angel is then thrown into a hole in the ground, marking this like the 4th or 5th time that this has happened. Nightcrawler immediately jumps in after him with the hope of grabbing him and porting back up so that he doesn't die when he lands.
I love Smasher throwing him into a pit and is like, "I'm going to finish you off with a style famed and feared throughout the Empire." You're just throwing him in a pit.
Yeah, it's just a pit, dog.
Like,
what are we doing?
It's just a pit, my man.
It's just a normal pit.
Wolverine, this area he landed in was the Watcher's house, which is really surprising. He's got some real goofy plants and stuff, and he's got a big view screen that makes his face all giant.
I love that. I need to get one of these in my house for real, though, Gary. Like the next time you come over, like if we just walked in and like my zoomed in face was like, "Hello, Gary, welcome to the Greer house." Screen. Yeah,
welcome to Greer Dome. It's the Supreme Greer Intelligence.
It's the size of a wall.
That'd be incredible.
Very good stuff. Yeah.
There's got to be some deranged billionaire out there who has giant flat screens for walls so he can change them to whatever he wants, right?
I saw a TikTok video the other day of somebody playing a video game, and I can't remember what game it was, but it was on like a screen that the details said it was like 14 screens tied together. And it was like a giant, like I don't know how tall the dude was, but it was taller than the dude who was walking in front of it. And it was like humongously wide. Like it was a giant, it wasn't like IMAX, but it was a ridiculously large screen for the room. And I thought to myself, like, that has to be so expensive. And I knew it was because when the dude came out to play the video game, he just sat in like a normal everyday office chair. Like it was just
all his money on.
He was all screen, no filler. Like I got
the folding chair.
I got one thing that I am interested in, and it is not sitting comfortably while I play video games. So
it's great. The Watcher ejects Wolverine from his house by shooting him through the past.
Yes.
Like he's like, I can't interfere with your lives, but I can warn you about the dangerous devices I have, which I love that loophole. Like I can't interfere, but my devices can. And the devices send him back through time in 2 very small panels, one where there's a dinosaur and one where there's a volcano. And then he just pops back out. Like it's a really weird little subplot with the Watcher's apartment in this.
You ever have one of those nights out with your friends where like you wake up the next day and you start comparing notes and realize you had 2 totally different times? You just diverged at some point in the evening and then came back together, and like now you're checking in and it's like, oh, I don't even know who that was. Like, who is that kind of situation? Like, I feel like Wolverine is going to be explaining this and nobody's going to believe him. I don't know what you were doing, man. Like, we were all trying to save Jean. What are you talking about dinosaurs for? Where were you?
Yeah. A one panel dinosaur subplot is the kind of thing you don't see that often anymore. Sadly.
He falls out and Storm arrives to try to help him up, but he quickly realizes it's not Storm. It doesn't smell like her. His instincts are saying something different, so he grabs her by the head and flings her into a wall where she turns into a Skrull who says, "I am Raxor, I am your death."
Yeah. And he wasn't supposed to do this at the point. Wolverine's going to kill him, but the Kree guy saves him, and then they get into a fight. And nothing comes of
Is there
this.
any resolution to this whatsoever? Like, it doesn't happen in this comic book. Like we don't know who wins this, right? Like, I don't care, but it's just weird that they were just nah, all right, we're not gonna worry about that.
So I think it's just that the Kree and the Skrull don't get along.
Okay, so we don't care.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's another in a long line of
it'd be a classic Chris Claremont thing if the fact that they didn't get along meant they lost.
Okay,
like that's what he just did with the Hellfire Club.
Yeah,
right. Like they were winning, but their internal conflict. That's like one of the stock plots he likes. Yeah. But here it's just like they weren't supposed to interfere, and then they did, and then they're going to go fuck off for a while. Like maybe this gets continued in Miss Marvel or something.
Can't wait to find out. Meanwhile, Nightcrawler is sneaking around trying to find Angel, who disappeared when he kind of gets the drop on Oracle, and he's using his
Manta.
Manta. He's using his like very underused powers to like blend into the shadows, but unfortunately for him, she can see through infrared. So she blasts him and he's down. Meanwhile, Colossus is beating up Warstar. That doesn't seem like a fair fight at all. But Mini Warstar shocks Beast, and Gladiator joins the fight and promptly just beats down Colossus. And that's kind of like what they want you to think is a huge epic battle of unstoppable force versus immovable object type thing, but it's just guys punching one another real hard. So
yeah. Well, and if you know who Gladiator is, we know Colossus is like desperately outmatched.
Yeah, absolutely.
They fight until this ruins collapse on them, and then just Gladiator gets out because of course he does. He's Gladiator. Yeah.
I like this. I love this.
While this is happening,
I love this panel so much, dude. It's just the it's Xavier just looking down and holding his head as if to say, "These are such fucking idiots."
God, why did I do
this? Why did I do this? I thought I had a chance. These guys suck ass.
I would Gabriella Haller. I was married to her. We lived in Israel. It was great.
I was so sure they would make them fight just like spinning like legs. I didn't expect them to have to fight dudes. I bet all my money on like spinning motors, and I didn't have there's not a single spinning motor on the field right now. I'm so embarrassed.
Shar did not dispatch their giant blender. Like that's the kind of thing my X-Men are trained to fight. Not men, not guys who punch and shoot beams.
I get I'm also a little irritated when I see panels like this too, because like Landra and Xavier are in the same room together just thinking about each other instead of talking. and I get it. Like you want to see what the characters are thinking or whatever. I just open your mouth, talk. Like it's okay. You're both crying. Yeah. You're both literally weeping in the same room for different reasons. It's weird. Talk.
They wouldn't like thought bubbles are way out of fashion. Like this wouldn't happen now.
No,
they would just do it as omniscient narration. They both would just be stoic. Mm-hmm. And then they'd have omniscient. I also like that they're watching on this little like view screen.
Oh yeah,
this awesome like view orb
filmed before a live studio audience. Man, we're there.
Yeah, this is great.
Pretty much everybody is down at this point except for Scott and Jean. Scott is able to keep the Shi'ar away, but they're really just kind of waiting for backup so they can come in and clean house, which they realize. Jean uses her powers to kind of hide them very briefly, and they have a moment of you're a very special man, Scott Summers. No more special than the woman I love. Are you ready? I'm ready. And then they come out fucking swinging. And what is also an extremely cool panel, right? Like this is amazing. Yeah. This is them, together against all odds, against anything. We love one another enough to have each other's back, no matter what it is. And I think this is very inspiring. It is weird that it is on the back of like killing 5 billion people. Like it's a weird moment. It's a really weird, strange moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's one of those things where whenever I read about that for the first time, and I was like, oh, it was cowardly of them to want to like censor that. But her actually not doing it almost kind of makes more sense because it would just hang over the character forever.
Yeah.
And it did kind of, but then I understand the urge to retcon it because, weird thing, like you're just like having it reminds me Cole just recorded the episode of the Venture Brothers from the end of season 6 where they're all having dinner at the apartment in New York at Colonel Gentleman's house. and Colonel Gentleman's like, Rodney over there, he killed a baby. And it's like, no, he was a werewolf. He was a baby.
It was a baby. I love
it's
Colonel
just like you
Cunliffe
couldn't
so
give that kind of thing up. Like you just be like, this guy who I talked to is like one of my best friends. Killed a baby. I saw him do it.
I podcast with the guy that ended the universe. It's okay.
Jean Grey killed many, like a billion babies.
Yeah, it's it's a weird thing because Marvel has dabbled and it comes up when we're dealing with with Hydra, right? Like with just like the neo-Nazi or the Nazi stylings of Hydra, and it's really weird to think that those are your villains, but that's where your villains were back in the day. But none of those dudes ever really won anything. Like the Hydra never really carries the day. And so when we have if you had Captain America kill 5 billion people, you'd have to just try to walk that back because you wouldn't be able to have a conversation about Captain America without anybody. Imagine if Jean Grey tried to stop a bank robbery right now, right?
Yeah.
In the bank robbery, it's what the fuck do you know? I'm robbing a bank. You killed 5 billion people. Get the fuck out of here.
I love the idea of Captain America killing 5 billion people because he'd have to do it basically one by one. I was busy that decade.
Captain America kills the Marvel Universe.
The assembly line he has to set up to do it. So we get this beautiful, poetry about how they're young and in love and they're heroes. Great little moment given how this is going to end here. Unfortunately, them fighting Phoenix like this, similar to if you're fighting the Hulk or what have you, just awakens the force that's happening there. And the Phoenix comes back, breaks through the psychic circuit breakers or whatever.
Yeah, so Phoenix Force emerges. They go to Plan Omega, and which is basically we have to make sure the Phoenix Force is destroyed no matter what the cost. And Xavier, there's a panel where Xavier is like, Lilandra is totally 100% right. And he gathers the X-Men telepathically and says, you have to start taking Jean down. And really the only ones that are still responsive are Cyclops and Storm, because their clothes are all ripped up and Jean's in the background, Phoenixing out. And we see her oh, good. This is exactly what I wanted to happen. So something strange is happening, but we don't quite know what yet.
Yeah. We show the rest of the X-Men end up getting woken up as well here and are also being told to fight there. They're really surprised by this. Storm kind of confuses Jean Grey to buy them time. Moment I really like is because there's low gravity here. Wolverine throws Colossus.
Nice stuff. Good stuff.
Instead of vice versa. Really great. He turns in the metal midair and punches Jean Grey, but he pulls his punch.
Yeah.
Again.
Which Jean Grey can tell.
Yeah.
And Jean Grey kind of gives this speech of I finally truly understand who I am, what I am, and what has to be done. I'm two beings, but I'm bound together. I am one person, but I'm two beings inside one person. And the Phoenix has to die, so you have to kill me. And of course, Cyclops is, not Jean. Maybe Wolverine instead.
No, Jean, no.
Have we tried killing Wolverine? I'm not saying it'll work. I'm just saying we all options are on the table.
We don't know that it won't. Jean Grey at this point teleports him into a machine, a room with a big blaster. It's like the end of Resident Evil 3. A big laser that can zap her.
Yeah.
At this point. And basically does it herself. Nobody turns on the machine or anything.
No.
Jean Grey suicides.
Yeah.
In front of Cyclops. She's they'll be quick and clean. There'll only be one more person's death on my hands.
And Cyclops quickly realizes, oh, this was the goal. You knew you were going to do this as soon as you got here. You knew that you could not let the Dark Phoenix loose, but you also couldn't control it. So you knew you had to sacrifice yourself in order to save the world, save the universe from this terrible cosmic force. And then he collapses. Jean, oh Jean, oh Jean.
That's how you even found out there was this laser.
Yeah.
Here you read the minds of the people who were here. Know there was a Phoenix killing laser. Then we got over a statement. I am the recorder. A non-cellular humanoid who is owned by the Watcher.
Such a fucking left turn out of nowhere, man. Imagine being so super into this is Jean Grey dying. This is one of the most important X-Men in the world dying, and which she has done before, granted, but at this point, you feel oh, she just killed herself to avoid this huge moral quandary and because of the guilt and because she thought that this was right, and then just like a robot is now talking.
I love it. And Watcher just goes on this very, very purple prose kind of thing about how all humans can be good or evil.
Yes.
This is the X-Men. They don't realize it, but this was a good thing. They won't think so, but it was good of Jean Grey to suicide here, explaining it to this like tiny little GoBot.
I just want the GoBot at the end to be like, can you maybe, I mean, like a little bit dumber? Like some of the concepts you're wrestling with there are just kind of above my programming. Like, you made me to cut butter, and here I am wrestling with these moral complications.
Boss, I've always wanted to see a dinosaur.
Is
there any chance you can make that happen?
Yeah, do any of your terrible machines have the ability to show me a dinosaur?
Yeah, I'd like to see a dinosaur, please.
The ending of this, with the Watcher saying like, this is what makes humanity unique, is their ability to triumph over seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and if the cause is just, and saying that the X-Men don't realize it, but they may never realize it, or they may never accept it, but they have won the greatest victory of their young lives, because it is better could have lived to become a god, but it was more important to her that she die a human. Yes. And again, like it's very trite, but it just goes back to underline Xavier saying, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and all that shit. But I do like this. I do like this idea of Jean ending this in the only way that she could, of like, I'm going to take the decision from all of you. You don't have to agonize about this, because I am going to remove anybody's decision making from this. Like, nobody has to feel guilty for not supporting me or for letting this happen or anything. Like, I'm just going to take it over myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, like in a weird pro-suicide way. And I obviously don't support suicide or in any kind of way whatsoever. Just within the narrative of this comic book, like, I see why they came to this conclusion and were like, yes, this is the thing. Of course, it's X-Men, so she comes back to life and all of his shit is wiped out. So
yeah. After Cyclops immediately starts dating someone who looks exactly like
not weird at all. That's strange.
Yeah, all kinds of dumb bullshit happens. But the idea, it's an immense kindness, right? Like, is your last act to be like, you don't have to do it.
Yeah,
I'll just take care of it. It's very good.
Yeah, agreed.
And a classic for a reason. Very sweet. We were going to read the next issue and cover it as well, but it's a more recap madness.
I will say,
unfortunately,
yeah, I will say that the cover of the next one is really, really great, because it's got like, the background is all like pink and white, and it's just random like classic issues covers of X-Men comics, and then in blue in the background is all of the X-Men, and then with Cyclops in the foreground walking away, and it says "Exit Cyclops." Also, there's a chance to win a Toys R Us shopping spree. Would be down with that. I'm 100% down with this shopping spree.
Yeah, I would like to go on that shopping spree as well.
Have you ever been on a shopping
great
spree?
Cover.
I feel like that's like, I've never really thought about it, but like, boy, I would kind of like to do that. Like, it's a weird consumerist of me, but like, I would like to, man, if I could go on a shopping, like, give me 10 minutes at a grocery store, right? Like, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I've given myself a shopping spree.
Sure.
I've given myself like $1 limit and gone into a fun store.
Yeah. I did that for Autumn's birthday one year. I was just like, hey, like, let's go on a shopping spree. She's like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, I got a bunch of money. Let's go buy whatever you want. I'll pay for it. So
yeah, that's a great birthday gift. I have also given that gift. It was real fun. Yeah, great. You're classic for a reason. Great stuff. I'm happy to take a break from it. I find this era of Claremont X-Men stuff like very readable, but at some point again, a little bit fatiguing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Just the nonstop recapping and running in place and like everyone going over everything many times. Yeah. I'm really glad that comics got over that.
Yeah.
Like that is very modern comics tend not to do that.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that.
Usually, like when we're reading Avengers versus X-Men, like just a quick recap page, right? In text only, so the characters don't have to think about it. You don't like distract from the art or the actual writing of this whole thing. You can just be like, hey, this is what you need to know. Get into it. Yeah, this whole run was super great, Gary. I'm really glad we did this. Like I know we kind of just lucked into it, sort of. but it's just been really, really fun. The art on these 4 issues, man, I can't get over just how iconic it is, how much it's burned into my brain from being a child. The only thing that really happens, I think, in the next issue that we should talk about is that Kitty Pryde officially joins the X-Men. She shows up. So,
yeah, and Cyclops quits.
Yes,
yeah, which I think we mentioned. It was inevitable that we did this. You know, an X-Men comic podcast is going to do the most important stories of the X-Men at some point. In terms of what we're going to do next, if we're going to try to do some solo series or more first appearances, I don't want to think about it right now. I don't know if you've already decided what you want to do.
Nope.
But yeah, I didn't really feel like seeing past this. We'll figure it out sometime in the next 2 weeks.
We're recording this early, so it's going to be several weeks before we have to actually record another episode, unless we just want to do them early. So we're still in the planning phase, and a bunch of other stuff is happening. So we'll get there. We'll make a decision on what we're going to cover next and announce it to everybody. We promise. So
yeah.
In the meantime,
and all of this stuff sounds fun.
Yeah.
Like it all sounds like a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
What can they do?
They can support the show going to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, donate some money every month. They get cool benefits, exclusive podcast, the ability to control what video game Gary plays, like you were just a little tiny Gary in the back of his neck.
Like I was recorder and you were...
And I'm the watcher.
The watcher.
Explain to me Witcher 3, says the recorder to Ururu, the watcher. I can't remember how to say his name.
Done.
Umatu. You also get access to the Slack channel, which is a cool place to hang out with other members of the community. Go check it out. If you can't do that, ratings and reviews is a real big help. And also just straight up telling your friends. The most important thing, as always, is just to keep listening to the podcast. Thank you so much for doing that. We hope you are safe and sound and sane in this crazy wide world that we live in. Love you, and we'll be back soon with more X-Men.